Yo, what is up, everybody? This is episode 29 of the DPS podcast. Been a pretty crazy couple of weeks, man. We had a lot of milestones that we hit as a podcast, and my co-host with the co-most, shout out to, Lord Cognito. He hit a milestone himself over the last couple of weeks and celebrated with a beautiful stream. Not only one stream, two beautiful streams. First of all, I want to give a shout out to yes.
You said who is your co-host?
The co-host with the co-most.
You said Lord Cognito.
I said shout out to Lord Cognito for the sake, because he's the one that said. See, look at you, you.
I was confused.
Jesus Christ!
I really
confused. I said co-host with the co-most. Shout out to Lord Cognito for the saying. That's what he says in his podcast, and I was just giving him a shout out for what he was saying. But let me get back to wait, hold on. Let me get back to showering you, because I was showering you with praise before you decided to want to take an axe to my neck before I even got a chance to say what I was going to say.
I just wanted clarification, man.
You just wanted clarification, sir?
I was confused for a moment.
You was confused? That's all. Okay, all right, well, let's try this again.
Racer guy, Racer Forte is already drunk.
Lord, here we go.
Just got started. And,
here we go.
And the libations have already begun.
Okay, whatever. First of all, like I said, as a podcast, we're celebrating almost 30 episodes. That's going to be next week on Slow Mo's channel as usual. My man, my co-host, he hit a milestone on his channel, and if he didn't get a chance to partake in that milestone, it was pretty epic. So, Slow Mo, first of all, always great to be here with you every week. Please tell the fine people what you've been doing for the last weekend. What milestone are we talking about?
Well, I hit 1,000 subs, and great. It was great to see. It was great to hit that milestone, but then it also required me to do something that I've been kind of dreading for a little while now, and that little something was playing Bugsnax. And yeah, so your boy played Bugsnax, man. And let me do this. Let me not completely cap here. It's not a horrible game, okay? It's not horrible. It ain't for me, clearly. But it's a game that, look, if you're into that, I don't know why you would be, but if you're into it, you could probably have a little fun with it. But I was in misery, okay? I was the guy in literally misery, tied to a bed, with a block of wood in between his ankles, getting hit with a sledgehammer. That was me, So it was awful. Yeah, I was glad people enjoyed themselves. So hey,
look, man,
it was a good stream, I think, and people thought it was pretty cool. I had to do it twice, which wasn't planned at all, but it is what it is, and it wasn't too bad. I actually think I might do more streaming in the future of games, because clearly people for some reason like to see me um playing something poorly. But we'll see what happens. We'll see I don't know what we may play next. Hey, maybe you and I can do some of these duo games, and I'm not talking about It Takes Two, which seems like everyone's playing that, but I'm talking about like the dark picture games, like stuff like that, like games that are co-op and have a strong co-op aspect to them. Maybe we could do some of that, and I don't know. We'll see. But outside of that, I have been playing the crap out of Outriders. So we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. About I wish I could have just heaped all the praise on it that I wanted to, but that unfortunately is not going to happen. But I literally have like 45 hours in that game, and it came out last week. Yeah, 45 hours. So yeah, that's been my week, and I apologize for everybody that's been wondering where my video's been at. Because I've been playing Outriders, man. But you know that's definitely going to get rectified very, very soon. But what about you, man? How you been doing, man?
Listen, man, I've been living the Outriders life. Your boy, listen, man, it's been hard. Yeah, I know you guys see the icon. It's the iconic Destiny Hunter, and your boy has done nothing but just play Destiny pretty much consistently for the last 7 years. And oh boy, man, I don't know if I hit a wall with Destiny or anything like that.
Wow.
I haven't felt this good playing something else since God of War. And it's kind of crazy because I would have never paid Outriders to actually be a game that I would put on the same level as God of War. And even though it's not the same quality, but literally that's not. Yeah, it's definitely not the same quality. We're going to talk about that a lot today. But just the pure amount of fun you have in the game. And honestly, I haven't even played with anybody because that's part of the problem with the game, that is you can't play with people. I've done a lot of it solo, pretty much 90% of the game. I'm almost at the end. Shout out to my boy Slow-Mo. We were sitting in a party on Discord yesterday till 2:30 in the morning, and all Slow-Mo kept saying is, man, if this game worked, we could be playing with each other instead of just sitting here talking about it. So I literally set up with Slow-Mo to like what
worked in the demo.
Yeah, it worked in the demo. I actually played the game with Slow-Mo in the demo, but it doesn't work here. But that will be a conversation for later in the podcast. But yeah, I set up with him till 2:30 in the morning, just kicking it with my homie, and you know, progressing through the game until Slow-Mo bust my bubble by saying, yo, bro, you need to go to bed. You still got about another 45 minutes to an hour before you beat that game. I was like, I went into a camp. I got murked by a couple of captains, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to bed, bro. Going to bed. But yeah, outside of that, man, it's just pretty much been nothing but Outriders. I jumped into a game of Destiny with Luca because she got a brand new weapon and she wanted to try it out. And I proceeded to get owned in the game because I haven't really played the game in 2 weeks. So that was pretty bad and pretty interesting. And then outside of that, I have been playing Octopath Traveler for the last two weeks.
Really?
Oh, well, I beat the game on Switch, but I always wish we were able to get achievements on it. And you know, that's one. As much as I say Nintendo is they do so well with the way that they, you know, publish and release and talk about their games, man, the functionality, you really truly don't know what games are truly being missed out on by the community just because they don't have achievements. Like, some people don't want to put 90 hours or 100 hours into a game unless they have something to show for it. You know, yeah, you can pull up your profile and it shows that I played 120 hours of Breath of the Wild. But what does that really mean? Like, that could mean you just fell asleep with your Switch on. It doesn't mean that you actually played that many hours. But
or like Taz, where he says he's played 45 hours of the Outriders sign-in screen.
Shout out to Taz, because he can't get into a game.
Exactly.
He walked away for a while, fell asleep, like, I'm just gonna go to bed. But yo, outside of that, man, that's all I've been truly playing and stuff. But yeah, man. But outside of that, man, there's been a lot of stuff that's been going on. And the funny thing is, we're gonna start with we'll start with Mass Effect because I have it on the screen right now. So there's been, you know, in this video you see, courtesy of IGN and Dustin the Gary, you know, actually did a really good breakdown of everything that's going to be the differences and the changes. And from what I saw, bro, well, we already knew Mass Effect 1 was the stepchild of the three Mass Effect games.
No, well, some people don't know it.
Some people don't know it.
Some people don't recognize. Yeah, they're in denial.
Look, Mass Effect had to start.
Nostalgia has had a strong power.
Yeah. On them. Yeah, Mass Effect had a Mass Effect did have a third child. There was a third child part of Mass Effect, and no one ever remembers how bad the first one truly was because the last two, especially the second one, was so great, and the gameplay was so phenomenal.
Let's clarify that.
Go ahead.
in comparison to the other games, not
Oh,
bad
no.
as
Yeah,
in
in
like
comparison of the other
it's
games.
literally a bad game. It's not. It's
No,
not a
no.
bad game. It's
Mass.
actually a very very good game
Oh yeah,
with a superior story to what you will find in if
90%
that
of other
game came out
games.
today. If it had a modern engine with a modern game design and that story, it would be game of the year this year
Right.
easily. Yeah.
I agree. And I think that is the thing that a lot of people, and I like having these conversations, because as much as I laugh at people that sit here and say, yo, ME2 is trash compared to ME1, and I look at them like,
What?
or somebody that will say Mass Effect Andromeda, which is literally the child that was adopted.
Yeah.
Here's an
That's not
adopted
even
child.
a good game. And that's
That's
the one
not a
you'd
good
be like,
game.
yeah, that's not a good game.
That's not a good
that
game.
there was nothing good about that game.
Yeah. Oh, first of all, before we continue, I know we were having audio issues last week. Let me know if I am way louder or I need to be turned up, or if Slow No needs to be turned up so we can hear them better. So we can adjust that on the fly. But if it's all good, just let us know. But outside of that, man, yo, shout out to Hogue Law and his takes on that. We're gonna have to get him on. We definitely gonna have to talk to him and get him on DPS when Mass Effect Legendary Edition comes out. Cause I know he said he was definitely down to play it again. I just want to see if he actually wants to keep capping for ME1 after playing it all over again. Now, granted, after he plays it this time, it might be a better experience.
Exactly.
It will be a better experience. So it technically could almost look. Do you actually think that ME1 could actually come out better than ME2 with the fixes?
No.
I don't think so either. I don't think there's anything they could do.
Because here is and not to get so deep into it, but it's not that ME2 is better than ME1 because of strictly the combat issues that Mass Effect 1 had, and the Mako and the the elevator rides and all the technical stuff. It's also the fact that ME2 had a suicide mission that was something that was just never done in a game before.
Facts.
And executed masterfully. They had characters that the Mass Effect 1's characters are very very good as well. But I mean, they ain't got Miranda Lawson, so like I don't even know. Like we got Miranda Lawson on Mass Effect 2, man. So it's just yeah. There are more reasons than just the issues with bugs that make ME2 better, and probably like in my opinion one of the best games I've ever played. So yeah.
No, listen, man. There is nothing that anybody can tell me when it comes to this game, and it's like I was actually talking to Lord Cognito, and I was talking to Attic at a party about it. And they said, yeah, we're really looking forward to what you guys are going to be talking about when it comes to Mass Effect, because even if you guys don't want to play the Legendary Edition, you guys are going to have to, because y'all talking cap about it so much. I'm like, listen, it wasn't even a thought process in my mind that we weren't going to play this game. And guess what? We will have a podcast pretty much dedicated to the amazingness of all three of these things. Thank God they didn't decide to put that fourth one as part of this Legendary Edition, because I probably would have barfed.
They wouldn't dare.
Yeah.
And yeah, I play through. I usually play through the trilogy at least once a year. So of course I will play through the Legendary Edition. Like, why wouldn't I? It's a ritual. I gotta do it. I just got to.
Yeah. When's the last time you actually did play through?
Last year, late last year, I was playing through it, and once the announcement became official about the Legendary Edition, I didn't complete Mass Effect 3.
Oh, so you didn't complete it. I got you.
Yeah, I just gotta figure like I'll just go ahead and just start all over when the trilogy comes out. So
listen, I'm with
you. But since we're talking about it,
yeah, go ahead.
I actually have the
You have the changes?
The changes.
Because I have the
right
screenshot too,
here.
but if you want to dive
Oh,
into
no.
what the changes are.
Oh yeah, go ahead and put one. There's a super
Yeah,
chat.
I'll put them up too. Oh, we got a super chat. I didn't see it.
Ash and Luca with the $5 super chat. Hello, gentlemen. It's the kind, polite Luca. You know, I don't think anyone's ever called her that. But a great show so far. Mass Effect 2 had the best companions in Mass Effect series. Facts, big facts. Better companions than Mass Effect 1's companions. Not no shade towards the Mass Effect 1 companions, because they even come back and are somewhat companions of Mass Effect 2 as well. But it definitely better than Mass Effect 3's companions. Mass Effect 3's companions are just
They are.
it's just like what is happening here. Edie, some random on steroids dude who keeps doing pull-ups, the whole game. And I just, and then everyone else's all the other games companions. I mean, it's yeah.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Luca, for the $5 holla. Slow mo. I am transitioning the screen to go so you can actually, and we can actually go over that stuff. So well, go ahead and talk about the stuff that's being changed.
Yeah, I'm not even. Let me. I can't find the screen again, but it's fine. One of the big changes the first change I wanted to talk about, because there's a lot of what they talked about was about all the changes that they made to Mass Effect 1 because it needed the most love. But one of the other big changes that I thought was really interesting, and I'm not quite certain how I feel about it quite yet, is the Galactic Readiness meter.
Yes.
So you saw that part, right?
I did.
So okay, so for those who probably aren't really know what I'm talking about, the Galactic Readiness meter is something that was introduced in Mass Effect 3, and essentially you'd be playing through the game, and you would have this meter that was telling you how ready you were to take on the Reapers, the enemy that's trying to destroy the entire galaxy, or all sentient life in the galaxy. And the meter was important because if you got it to 100%, that means that when you did the ending, and since we're so close to launch of this, I'm not going to talk about what the ending is. I'm not going to say what you get, but there's a special scene that happens at the end of the game. So you would have, essentially how you did that was you would have to do all these multiplayer missions and complete multiplayer content that frankly no one really, it wasn't bad in Mass Effect 3, but that's not what people play Mass Effect for.
Right.
People didn't want to play Mass Effect for the multiplayer. There were some who engaged it and enjoyed it, but it wasn't what you were there for. And that they were forced people into it was not one of the complaints that people had about Mass Effect 3. So, that's it. They after launch, they changed that so that instead of forcing you to play multiplayer to the special ending, they changed it to you completing all of like the content. Like you the more side missions and stuff that you did, the higher your meter would go. So that was their way of fixing a mistake that they had made.
Right.
Now what they're doing, which and I'm gonna tell you how I feel about it, and I want to hear how you feel about it, Forte, is that they're changing the Galactic Readiness meter now takes into account your completion of all content from Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm like, wait, hold up, man. So this is, first of all, there's a lot of content in Mass Effect 1.
It's a lot.
There's a lot of these randomly generated, like Atari 2600 looking graphic barren planets that you go to.
They're gonna make you go to all of them.
You're gonna have to go to all of these.
I thought
and do all of those cut and paste missions
All
with
those side quests
the
that we
side
all
quests
skipped.
with the same interior space with it look like all the mercenaries
The same planet with the same bunker with a different color shade on it.
Right, yeah. They all bought the same, mercenary base, from like whatever real estate company that hands out mercenary bases in the Mass Effect universe. That it was like just cut and paste, man. Really, really cut and paste. Really weird. That's a lot, I don't know how many people are going to be cool with that to do all of that. Now I'll do it. It's not that big a deal to me, but that's me, big Mass Effect fan over here. I can see other people trying the series out for the first time, and there's a lot of those people. There's a lot of people who missed out and didn't realize how good it was back when they were brand new. People that we know that they're big time gamers, and they're just like, you know what, I want to know what the fuss is about. I kind of feel bad where they're, in order for them to get like the great ending, like imagine you didn't do everything for Mass Effect 1.
Right.
You do more in Mass Effect 2. But then you get the Mass Effect 3 and you find out, oh man, I'm not going to get some special ending because I didn't do I didn't do content from, from 2 games back. Like I can't see people saying, well, I'm not starting over.
Right.
And that's unfortunate, I think. And I mean, that's my opinion on it. What about you? What do you think, man?
Look, man, remember how the Galactic, your readiness level was also tied to the multiplayer? So the more people you got to level 20 and you move them into the ranks, it would affect your readiness level. Well, I wonder if this is their way, since they're not bringing the multiplayer over. Is this their way of kind of making you do the same thing that you did in multiplayer? Because let's be for real, that was a grind to get characters to level 20. To get each character there. So is this their way of trying to say, we want to retain that facet of the game, but instead of not having a multiplayer, we're going to make you take all your accolades from Mass Effect 1 and 3 to actually get you where you need to be galactically ready for the attack of the Reapers? So when I saw that, I was like, oh, they literally punted on this part of the game. They at a certain point, I would have just rather you just not have it in there at all, because does it really impact? And that's the thing I want to ask you, Stumble. Did it really impact you in ME2 when you played it? Did that actually impact your gameplay?
Wait. Say that.
I know. I'm sorry. Did the readiness level, did it actually impact your gameplay?
No.
It didn't.
Not really.
It was basically just a way to say, I'm sending more people to a fight that we know this is about to happen, and we know it's
just random cut and paste survival mode, horde mode kind of missions.
That's it. That's all it was. So why is this even in the game?
Well, they don't have that in the game anymore.
Well, they don't have the multiplayer stuff in the game anymore.
Right. But they still kept this,
But why keep the readiness level?
Yeah,
because that was the whole benefit of you.
Yeah, I don't understand why they kept it. They could have just done away with it and just give everyone that special scene at the end.
Right, but like I said, that was literally the only reason. You got the special scene at the end when you did it, and it was just carried on a stick to like make you feel like in Mass Effect 2 that you were contributing to the war effort in the campaign, when technically all you were doing was getting yourself set up to get a cutscene at the end, and the thing is, all you had to do was do one character. People didn't know that. You didn't have to do, like, I remember I played that multiplayer like crazy, and I probably put like 40 or 50 people through there, because I was just cranking them out, because that's how much I was playing it. You only had to do it one time. So I applaud them for trying to keep a feature that was in the original game, trying to spruce it up and actually make it a part of the gameplay loop. But the gameplay loop that it was technically a part of isn't even in the game.
Right.
So why do you even have it?
What I would have did is that I would have had the Galactus Readiness meter be more symbolic than actual real.
Yes.
Whereas with the story, as you progress through the story, it would just kind of be like you see your readiness meter go up as you start to gain. I'm trying to be as vague as possible for people who would be
Well, we're talking
going.
about the crew, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean vague as possible for people who haven't played it
Yeah,
yet
that's what I'm
and
saying,
want
but
to play it.
you're talking about like crew and see
Yeah,
that
yeah.
level go up as you progress through the story. And because the thing people don't realize, Mass Effect has so many ebb and flows, so many values and valleys and peaks inside of it, where one decision can literally, all decisions can be overcome in Mass Effect, no matter what decision you make. The difference is how you're perceived in this so-called giant universe. It's not even so-called, it is a giant universe of characters and factions and all these different NPCs and how they receive and respect you or not respect you. All that stuff can be tied into what that readiness level. Think about it. How if your readiness level was tied to kind of the factions and stuff you endeared yourself to through the Renegade system or through the Paragon system, and you got Quarians to help you do this, and the Krogans did this, and it made your Renegade level go up and down like it does in the game now. But it also is tied to what your galactic readiness is. You know, the more people you help and the more side quests you do inside the game that benefits certain factions, it makes them want to help you in the war effort, or they want to contribute more people to the fight to make that meter go up. Dang, Slomo, we just literally came up with a better way of doing this than
BioWare, I'm available.
Yeah, we available, BioWare.
I'm not moving to Edmonton, but if you want to bring me on as like a consultant,
Yeah.
you know, work remotely, get on Zoom calls, look at what you're working at, tell you that's a bad idea, don't ever do that again. Matter of fact, go jump off the building with that dumb idea. That kind of stuff, I'm here.
Yep.
I'm available.
Yo, shout out to Cat Daddy. He says, never mind, he's not doing any of that stuff. And then he also says, I'm just going to get whatever ending I get and just YouTube the rest. Yo, let me tell you something. The one thing,
they're setting themselves up for the same kind of disappointment.
Yes.
That people got when they first played it when they first came out. They're setting themselves up for that.
And this isn't a spoiler. This is just me giving you my thought process on how you play the game, how you want to play it. But Mass Effect, especially if you do it all the way from the beginning to the end, because all your progress just carries over character and everything all the way till you get to the very end. Go into this, play the game how you want to play it. Like me, I played it. Everybody knows I normally play as female characters in games because I play shooters, and even knowing their hitbox aren't smaller in actuality, in my mind, I just feel like it's a smaller target. So it just helps me play the game better. But Mass Effect was the game where I actually felt like I wanted to portray myself into this character. I want to feel like the things I did in the game are things that I would do in real life if this was me. So when I played the game, I played it in that manner. Now, some people like Slow-Mo, he played the a-hole of the group, knowing he ain't an a-hole in real life. He just wanted to see what it's like to kick people off of balconies and stuff, maybe. I don't know. But ultimately, play the game how you want to play the game and live with the consequences of the gameplay that you have in place, because you will enjoy the game way more if you just play it the way that you want to play it versus how, I just want to be all Renegade this game, or I want to be all Paragon, or I want to play right down the middle. Play it the way that is beneficial to the way you want to play it, and you won't be disappointed in the game in the end, because the game is going to literally feed you the ending that is this depicted for the way that you played the game. And I think that's the one thing that people should go into this game thinking, because they didn't change the ending of Mass Effect 3. That game is still going to end the same exact way that it ended 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now,
granted, you're getting the new ending that they added in here, so you won't see the BS they gave the community the first time,
and some people actually never went back and played it again
and
to
never went back
see
a chance to see the new ending.
to see the new ending. So that's going to be fresh for even people who played through the trilogy in the past. But since you brought up like your Paragon and your Renegade levels and the choices that you have in the game, they did say that they were kind of fine tuning some of that,
Yes.
some of the choices where it may not have been very fair to the player to not have a certain pass a certain check or a certain level in order to get a desired uh choice or desired outcome. And I think what they probably are talking, well, I can give a great example of what they're talking about, but that would be a spoiler, so I'm just not going to say
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Well,
But
it's not too much you can actually say about this game that's not technically a spoiler. And
true,
normally we
true,
don't
true.
hold spoilers at bay, but the fact that they
It's
are
about
bringing
to
this game back out for a
re-release
lot of
again.
people that
Yeah,
never play it,
yeah.
mum's the
Um,
word.
but to try to like speed the process up, the as we said before, the most of the work went to Mass Effect 1. It was the first time BioWare did any game, any kind of shooting elements to it, and so uh the Mass Effect 1, the original game, did not have very good cover shooting, accuracy in shooting. Uh Getting into cover sometimes was a pain. Staying into cover when you would try to pop out of cover and shoot an enemy, and then your character would like do a slide out of cover that will expose you. That kind of stuff was
I didn't even know. You
painful.
see this slow mo? I didn't even know that was a thing.
What
Now that I
what
think
part?
about it, you see on the screen, Shepard can now sprint out of combat.
Yeah, you didn't know
I
that?
did not realize in Mass Effect 1 that you could not sprint away from combat. That's how
Yeah.
long it's been since I played ME1.
They
Think about that.
also
In Mass Effect 2, if you get shot at and you're in cover, you can actually sprint away and get to a cover that's further away. You couldn't do that in ME1. All you could do is get out of cover and walk as slow as possible away from the enemy because you couldn't run.
yeah. Also, there was they with the inventory system. They had all that inventory. You would get all this junk. It was Mass Effect 1 is the only one of the three where you have more of your classical
Hey,
RPG inventory system where you would we talked about Outriders. If you played Outriders, you
that's
see
because
how
all the
you
stuff
get
fell
a
out the
lot of
trash
loot,
can.
and the vast majority of it's stuff that you don't want to use at that time, so you would just delete it. Well,
Okay,
in Mass Effect 1,
I got you,
they
man.
had that, but more of
Yes,
an
ma'am.
RPG system of
Thank you.
getting gear. And unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
there was
Oh, well.
no
Can you give
junk
me one of
all.
these
There was no
upstairs?
take
Bring me one.
everything and just, like tag it and then sell it at
Something to
a
drink.
vendor, or turn it all
I just
into
want a
a
water.
resource that you can use for later.
Thank
That's
you.
stuff
Never
that
mind.
kind of got implemented and like later on as a game design element to deal with inventory, and they didn't have that back then for Mass Effect 1. Well, they're adding that into the game now, so you're going to get that kind of benefit that you didn't have before. uh what else here? The Mako, they are fixing the Mako. They're actually allowing it to have realistic game fi- uh physics, so that it makes sense when the Mako hits a rock, and instead of like in the original game where it would like almost flip over, that it actually like realistically goes over terrain. It's a little bit weightier. Accuracy and shooting that isn't abysmal. And if you touch the lava, it doesn't it's not instant, dead and respawn, which would make no sense if a big tank touched a little bit of lava. So, uh-oh. Forte?
I'm here.
Cat Daddy said, did Forte forget to mute his mic? I don't know what happened. Are you eating?
Was I mute? Oh, my kid was down here next to me eating. I thought I had it muted.
Well, that'll be all over the audio.
Peyton, tell Slow-Mo you sorry about eating next to the mic. She just she just walked away.
What was? Oh yeah, so yeah, there's that, and then another improvement is now they've kind of streamlined the way your shepherd looks. So you know how, like, as in the original game, they used a proprietary in-house engine called Eclipse to develop the first game. And Eclipse was really good for the kind of style of games they like to make, but as far as graphics go, it was always lacking. Um, but Mass Effect 2, they went to Unreal Engine 3, and so was Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 3 was in Unreal Engine 3 as well. Unreal Engine looks way better than the Eclipse engine. So what when it came to Shepard, the differences in how your Shepard looked, even though you could port your character over, all your choices and the way your character looked to the next game, there would still be graphical differences due to the differences in the game engine. Now that's going to be all the same. So you create your character in the first when you start the Legendary Edition on Mass Effect 1, and it's the same exact look of your character throughout all three games. So I thought that was a nice quality of life change. And just to finish up, if you look at Dustin Legary's video they did with IGN, and it's got a lot of excerpts in there from the developers talking about some of the other small changes that they made that they just noticed were good changes to have that didn't that weren't necessary from what they did back in the day. So back in the day when this game first came out, I think the first one came out on 360, right? No, was it 360 Forte, or was it at the end of the original Xbox? I can't remember, but
I think it was
regardless,
at the end of which game?
Mass Effect 1.
End of regular. No, yeah, regular.
Yeah,
Was
yeah,
it?
yeah. You know, it doesn't matter.
No, it was
an Xbox
360.
exclusive.
It was 360.
Okay, but regardless, the hardware wasn't strong enough to really put all the environments the way they
It
had
was a launch
designed
window
them into
game
the
for
game.
Xbox 360.
Okay. So what they ended up doing was a little trick that a lot of developers do to when they don't have enough resources, enough memory on the hardware in order for them to get the game in. They kind of change the environment a little bit. They introduce walls to block out details from parts of the environment further away. And so they said they took those walls out because with the current hardware and even with last generation hardware, Xbox One and PlayStation 4, using the exact same game engine that they used that they did for the original 2 and 3 for the trilogy, they said we can actually take these walls away and make the whole final product look a lot better than it did in the actual original game because we don't need to save resources like we did before. So that's all of them were 360. I don't know why I couldn't remember that.
No, you literally had me bugging for a second. I was like, wait a minute, I don't think that game would have ran on a regular.
It definitely wouldn't have. I don't know what.
I was like, yo, I remember regular Xbox games not being all that great looking. Brute Force was a good looking game, just sucked. Brute Force was a good looking game, it just sucked.
I don't know about that. I don't think it was a good. I don't think it was a good.
I mean, well,
some
if you think about it now in today's, day and age of graphical fidelity,
no, I didn't think it was
sucks.
good looking back then. But that's also Brute Force was one of the first games that I got hit with the okie doke.
Oh,
because when they first showed the screenshots for Brute Force in the video game magazines, I was like, this is what Xbox has in store. I'm like, all right, like I can't wait to play this. And the game came out, and it just looked like a blurry green and brown mess. I'm like, this game don't look
That was
nothing like what they
18-year-old
showed in the
slow-mo.
screenshots.
Slow-mo at 18 years old was like, Xbox, they lit. It got it lit out here. Actually, you probably was 16, 17 then.
First Xbox game?
Yeah, that was like
I was somewhere around that age,
2003.
yeah.
That was like when it wasn't a launch title. It was like in the middle of the generation.
Mm-hmm. But I was upset. I was upset at the downgrade. That was the first game I ever saw the downgrade, and I was just like, bro, this is a huge step back from what they showed. I had no idea what pre-rendered content looked like until then.
No, but what was the name of that game? It was the one that to me the biggest downgrade of all was that Brink game. Remember it?
No.
You don't remember Brink?
Oh, Brink. Yeah,
yes,
yeah, I remember Brink.
Remember they showed us this this elaborate CGI where he was running through the city, sniper shooting from wall. I was like, yo, this look lit. And then the game came out. I was like, man, y'all couldn't have went far enough from the truth of what y'all tried to sell people back in 2009, 2010.
Yep, and they still doing it now.
Still doing it now.
Most recent one is Cyberpunk.
You know,
let me not get started.
No, listen, man. Before we move on to the, we pretty just nailed everything in this. Before we move on to the next topic is part of me missed the days of when we would watch trailers. Like one of my favorite, I think there were because Halo's my favorite franchise of all time, and I miss, you know, Halo 2 trailers. It was they showed it off at the E3 the year before it came out. So it was literally a year and a half into this game release, and it was the whole Sulaco scene where they show them with all the new lighting going through the tunnels and inside the ship. And then the bomb is sitting there and he opens up the door and gets flied out, and all you see is the coveted ship underneath you and stuff. I remember seeing that trailer. I probably watched that trailer knowing, I was like, this is before I knew any better about what games are going to look like when they finally come out. But when I saw that trailer, I was like, yo, this is going to be monumental. I can't wait to play this game.
Yeah, we had no idea what a vertical slice was.
Yeah, we had no idea what a vertical slice was. That was nowhere in the game. But that, and then remember the Finish the Fight trailer, the one with Master Chief standing in the desert with the cape over his head, and he pulls it off, and all you see are the Wraith shooting the the plasma bombs at him, and then he throws the bubble shield on the ground and he runs and jumps on the elites at the end. Yo, Xbox was in a whole nother level of marketing. Like the marketing, what happened to the marketing people at Xbox? Listen, those were iconic memories I will never forget, just watching those trailers. And part of me just feels like maybe because we are more wiser, people that used to watch that stuff were older now. So now that we know that, like you said, what a vertical slice is or what gameplay versus cinematics look like, it kind of takes away from that imagination of, yo, games are just games and they're fun, and I just can't wait to play it. Now we look at games like, I don't want to watch a CGI trailer. If it ain't gameplay, I'm not interested.
Right. Like don't show me the game. Like I'm done with teaser trailers.
I'm done with that stuff now.
Teasers. Yeah, like because I've been tricked too many times.
Yep.
And look, and there's I know this may sound somewhat hypocritical if there is like an Xbox executive listening to this and they're just like, hold up. Clearly they haven't been listening to me all these years, but I'm like, didn't this same guy say, look, man, what do you have in store for me? Like, do you have games coming? I don't care if it's a JPEG. Put it up on screen so I know what's coming. I know I said that in the past. I know. I'm sorry. But now at this point, what I what I want now is, look, let's not do teaser trailers anymore. This is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Give me an announcement. If you guys just come out on stage with a developer, like send Matt Booty out on stage and say, "Hey, we're doing Crimson Skies 2," and walk off stage. Bam, thank you. I appreciate that. I know what to expect. Cool. Don't do a teaser trailer. I don't want to see anything until you got something substantial from the game already. That's when I want to see the game. So to use my example of Crimson Skies, show me an actual trailer of the game when you got like a running prototype going. Show it then. Then I want to see it. The trailers for Undead Labs' games, State of Decay, really misleading. I know what to expect from that game. Other people may not. Newer gamers may not. And they see this nice, beautiful trailer from Blur Studios, and they think, oh man, because they did it before. They did it with State of Decay 2, and then said AAA all the way.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't. And then they also have started out marketing that game this way as well, with the trailer with the black girl in the woods, and and the zombie deer, and all that stuff. And look, great looking trailer, awesome trailer. I want to watch that movie,
right?
like, because that's what it looked like. It looked like a animated movie, but I know that's not State of Decay. Like, that doesn't give me any indication, any gamer, any indication of what this game, what that game's really going to be like.
Right.
That game is a survival zombie game. Like, that's not how the game looks or how it operates whatsoever. It's survival zombie simulation is what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see anything that misrepresents what the game is going to be, or doesn't give me enough information of what the game is going to be. I think I've seen that too often with too many games coming out of the Xbox Game Studios camp. Everwild, we got two teaser trailers, and even the dev don't know what the game is. You know what? Don't show me that. Don't show me that game. What else? I had it right on the tip of my tongue. Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's a remake, you're bringing Perfect Dark back, but still, like, that trailer told us absolutely nothing. Like, for that game to be gone for as long as it's been, there's a whole generations of gamers that have never played Perfect Dark before. That told them nothing of what kind of game it is.
Right.
Just don't show it. Just go out on stage and be like, we are announcing the initiative is working on a Perfect Dark sequel. And you could have said that a long time ago. You didn't need to waste all the developers' time in preparing a nonsense trailer of a drone flying around the city. You didn't need to do any of that stuff and have people not working on the actual game at all. You could have just brought Gallagher out, the head of the studio, and say Perfect Dark, and then walk off the stage.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, it's just a waste.
Yeah. So, look, man, interesting conversation there. We could dive down that topic for the whole show.
Hey, Mecha Duff says maybe it's not about what you want, but okay, clearly someone's triggered. Of course it's not. Of course it's not about what I want, but all I care about is what I want. The same way all you care about is what you want.
Exactly.
I'm just giving my perspective. If you don't like that, then that's fine. But telling me what I already know is kind of pointless for both of us, sir. So.
Hey, man, can you imagine the show with just logos? That's bad marketing.
Hey, you're not. See, this is when people don't listen, right? Did I say a whole show full of logos?
You didn't.
Were those words that came out of my mouth?
They weren't.
So how did people come to this conclusion? It's like people don't you criticize a platform for something that they do, and brain cells just die immediately, and people don't listen anymore. Let's let's be adults here.
Mm-hmm.
I criticized a marketing approach they're doing with their new games. I am not saying let's have an entire E3 conference full of logos. That's silly. All games that they're working on are in various stages of development. Halo Infinite, for example, is much further along than Fable. So of course, you have more to show with Halo Infinite than you do with Fable. And so in that example, if you have nothing to show for Fable, don't give us a teaser. Of as humorous as it was to see this fairy get eaten by a frog, that fairy, no, that frog will be in that game. So just don't show me that. Just
Yeah.
make the announcement. But Halo Infinite, show me a game that is going to be representative of what the game is going to be when it comes out. When Bethesda finally shows Starfield, it's going to be of that same level of development where it's going to be pretty much ready to go in typical Bethesda fashion. So, show me the game. I actually will say I like the way Bethesda does that. They don't give you, usually for their in-house games, they don't have you watching a whole bunch of trailers over the course of 2 years until the game comes out. They keep it close to their vest, and then when it's ready to go, they hit you at E3 with a huge blowout for the game and say, coming out this fall. I love it. I think that's perfect. You showed me what the game looks like, and you're telling me that this at the same time you're telling me what the release date is, and it's not that far off. I think it's awesome. So I feel like I may have finally explained that perfectly for everyone that is listening. And the last show wasn't completely full of teaser trailers on my eye, but still. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes people, when they look at things, and look, inherently, is there anything wrong with teaser trailers? No, but I think everybody, if you go to anybody's live streams and you watch their reactions to this stuff, or you just watch their videos after the fact, everybody likes the fact that you're getting content. They like to know what's coming, but those trailers do absolutely nothing for you. Just like Ramon Terrell says, every time I see a CGI trailer, I roll my eyes. As you said, it tells us absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and it gives it also, for people who aren't aware, it gives them a false pretense of what the game is really going to look like, which is unfair to the developer, because now the developer has to try to raise the visual fidelity of the game to this ideal that has now been set by someone outside the studio.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not fair. It's not fair to anybody. It's not fair to the gamer, because they're getting a false perception, and then it's not fair to the developer, because they're trying to now they gotta make changes for where they expected the game to be at visually, and dealing with their game engine, memory, everything, all the other resources that may be going on in the game. When I say things about like State of Decay, for example, and it's and visually it won't live up to what we saw in those trailers, it's because what Undead Labs is doing in their world, it's a lot of stuff going on. That world is got hordes all over the place. There are different factions that are doing things and have their own AI. It's a lot going on that the game is managing. You don't have all the resources available, because it's not an infinite amount of memory for them to use in order to have the game looking visually like The Last of Us Part 2 while all that other stuff is going on. It's just not possible. So the game's not going to look like this. They're not even attempting to make it look like that. It's just it's an old school way of marketing that I feel like it's about time for this generation that goes to the wayside.
No, I agree 100%. So with that being said, let's transition over to we're an hour into the show, and we get to our first
we haven't done a single topic.
There's no check marks on none of these topics.
We haven't even talked about okay, real quick. We got to talk.
We got to talk. You want to talk about Outer? I was gonna. Okay, we could talk about it real quick. Well, actually, let's do this MLB thing, and then we go in Outer Worlds.
Okay. All
right. So
Outer Worlds.
Outriders.
There was an announcement of Outer Worlds too.
Yeah, you never know, man. Microsoft did say that the next one is going to be exclusive to their platform. It could be
I'm
anything.
all for it, man. I'm all for it. I can't. I loved Outer Worlds. That was
I didn't
great.
get a chance. I didn't play it, so you got to definitely.
What?
I did, man. Come on, Destiny Stan.
Dude, I'm sorry. You need to play.
Destiny Stan, sir.
Okay, all right. Well, no excuse. You need to play.
No, you're right. You're right. No excuse. No excuse. So MLB. So this news literally dropped the next day after DPS last week, and I literally text Slow-Mo, and I'm like, bro, why could this have happened one day earlier?
Right.
The whole show would have been nothing about how Microsoft literally pulled the wool over Sony's eyes and said, all your cars and all your tanks belong to me. But ultimately, we're not going to tie too deep into it because it's been kind of beaten over the head over the course of the last week. But if you've been living under a rock, you probably didn't know that MLB is a PlayStation exclusive. Well, it used to be an exclusive, but it is still being published and made by a PlayStation studio, which is San Diego Studios out in San Diego, California. They're the one that's actually producing and making this game. The reason this game was going to be multi-plat in the first place is because MLB decided that they said, we want more money. We want this game to see more eyes. We want this to be we want a bigger player base. We want a bigger ecosystem. They're looking at games like 2K and Madden and FIFA, and they're like, yo, we need to get our return on investment, even more on this game. So in 2019, they had a restructure of the licensing contract with Sony. And Sony had agreed to the terms of officially publishing, well, not them publishing it, but them bringing this game to the Xbox ecosystem, to the Xbox players, to the console per se. Fast forward to a week ago, Friday, and what did we wake up to, Slow-Mo?
We woke up to MLB The Show, developed by Sony San Diego Studio, is going to Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass. And that's yeah, oh wait. Shout out to Randolph Thor with the $5 super chat. This Outriders class nerf is ridiculous. Fix your game first before tinkering with the classes. It's a PvE game, not a PvP game.
Here we go. Here we go. We gonna get into that, Rand, right after we get through this one.
Up in that.
We gonna get all up into that right after this. Matter of fact, we go fast because I definitely, because now that Rand came in here, we definitely got to get into it now. But yo,
no. Well, let's give this topic its proper due.
We'll give it its proper due.
Now, one, I will say this: MLB. I fully understand MLB wanting to do this. One, it makes sense on their part. They're the only, think about this, they're the only major league sport that did not have a multi-plat game. So NBA 2K, Madden, FIFA, all the other sports have their game on all platforms, where MLB only had their game on simply just PlayStation, which is still the biggest console, install base that can't be scoffed at.
Right.
Yet at the same time, that's potential sales being left on the table. And so of course, Major League Baseball wanted more money. And look, they don't care about, Sony's pockets. They don't care that Xbox is a competitor. They and to the point of Sony had the choice here. They could lose the license and then have to really figure out what they're going to do with San Diego Studio going forward, because they make that game annually, and having them completely switch gears, remodify their engine for something different, or have them become a co-development studio to another studio is lost. That's a lot of money that you're losing. So it made sense that Sony agreed with it, simply because of the cost effect of switching away from this. Maybe now they know that MLB's intentions are. They may decide, well, we're going to have a portion of the San Diego team start prototyping a brand new IP, something different completely, not even a sports game, right? Not even a baseball game. And then once it's at a certain point when we can transition a full studio over to it, maybe we'll be done, further along in this contract where we can get out of it,
Right.
find a exit plan. But I don't think they had any idea of the chess moves that were being made by Phil Spencer and company in regards to seeing this opportunity and saying, hey, we're going to take our competitors game and put it in our service. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what I wonder, and I want to ask you about this,
Mm-hmm.
why isn't this game also in PS Now?
Mm.
Is
Hey.
it because it's too expensive for them they need to recoup their money on it?
Oh, that's a good take. Yeah.
Putting it in PS Now would almost, they feel like, because they clearly don't believe in the model
What
of Game
did Jim
Pass right
Ryan
now.
say? We don't believe. They said we believe our games cost $100 million upwards to make. We believe in our
Mhm.
games having a theatrical release. We want
Right.
we want our games to be celebrated. Those are all words that that Judas Ryan said, right?
Judas Ryan. Yeah. Yeah. And so they clearly don't believe that putting this game in PS Now is the move to make, regardless of what Xbox did with the game that they developed.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a PlayStation fan and let's say you primarily game on PlayStation, but you also have an Xbox and you like MLB The Show, I'm like, well, I'm not buying that on PlayStation. What for? Why would I?
Right.
That would make no sense to me. I'm going to get it on Xbox because, frankly, Game Pass is $10 a month, and if I just got started with it, it's $1,
Mm-hmm.
for the first month, and I can play MLB The Show, play through it, everything. I heard it's pretty substantial career modes kind of stuff. So it's
Oh,
not
it's
something
pretty
that you're
deep.
going to be. Yeah, you're not going to be done with this game in like less than a month. So
Right.
however long it's in there, and then I can, if it leaves the service before I'm done playing the game, I get a 20% off discount.
Mm-hmm.
What damn. That's still cheaper than me buying it on PlayStation. And that's the choice of me spending more money that I don't even have to spend.
Mm.
What that's just a well-reasoned way to go about it. I can see a lot of people making that kind of choice. So I
Well,
don't know. I just think we kind of talked about this last night on Brad, but I don't think that financially PlayStation can do what Microsoft is doing with Game Pass, and so they're not even going to attempt it because they don't want to make that risk of someone playing a game that they developed and spent $100 million on for whatever entry level price for 1 month is for PS Now, completing it and then uninstalling, because that's like the worst case scenario. That's something that even really Microsoft doesn't, even though you have the option. Microsoft don't want you to do that either,
no, they don't want you to do that either.
but you have the choice to do that, and that's the kind of risk that Microsoft is willing to take because they got the pockets to make it happen, whereas Sony does not have those kind of pockets, and they can't take that kind of risk. And yeah, that's just what it comes down to. And it's why they won't make the move, the counter attack to this sneak attack by putting it in their somewhat of a competitive service in PS Now. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm doing a lot of talking, man. What do you
No,
think?
no, you're good. I just think overall, like I said on Brap yesterday, it's more of a optics situation. PlayStation gamers that are PlayStation owners are going to buy this game no matter what. It just happens to be that, you know, in the move that PlayStation actually wanted to keep the license, because let's be for real, even though in the game only sells 1.5 to 2 million copies a year, that's 1.5 to 2 million annually, because baseball game, this, you know, sports games are annual releases. So if you was to tell, this game has been in production since 2006. So at least over the last 10 years, since 2016, this game has, not 2006, since 2010, it's been averaging 1 million or more a year. You tell me on a game where you do minimum upgrade, not min, I ain't gonna say min, because I don't want to, you know, make it seem like the developer don't put work in, because they do.
Yeah, no, it's a quality game.
It's a quality game.
Of how many people buy it. I think that has more to do with baseball just not being a very
no, I'm just saying the fact that they are getting 1.5 to 2 million people to buy this game a year, and it comes out every year. That means they done sold anywhere from 15 to 20 million copies of MLB The Show since 2010, meaning they're making more money. And people keep thinking, oh, it's not making that much money. No, they're making more money than you actually think, because the development cycle is only about 6 to 9 months on this game. Because they're doing minimum upgrades to the game. Now, over the course of 5 years, those upgrades become very apparent, especially when it comes to the graphical side of it, when it comes to the way that the game plays and feels and different features they added to the game. You see drastic improvements if you go every 3 to 4 years, you know, but if you go year to year, it's mostly a generational little tinker here, upgrades to gameplay elements, making the graphics look a little bit better, adding new rosters, updating the rosters, adding new players to the game, you know, which all takes time. You know, they probably spend more time in the mocap studio with new players coming into the studio to get their faces scanned to be put into the game than anything else. I may be, you know, discounting a lot of the stuff that they're actually doing, because I do know they do a lot, but for the amount of time that this game is in development, for them to sell as much as they do, that is still a lot of money. And that's why people kept saying, well, Sony should have just let the license go. Well, they're looking at that like, yeah, we sell a lot.
It's not that simple.
It's not that simple.
Like every choice you make has consequences. And
yes,
just
it does.
Letting the license go without having any forethought to, all right, so what are you going to do with Sony San Diego now? Because you got X number of developers that don't have a project to work on, but you know what they still have? They still have mouths to feed, medical benefits, salaries that have to be paid, and you don't have a project to replace their other project and put them on. You can't just go, hey, all right, well, you know, with no plan, all right, but you ain't doing that game no more, or lay all those people off. That's a bad look all the way around. And it's just, you can't just go, well, you know, all right, but we ain't doing the game then. Like, that's like, you can still make money off of this. You can still, and you're going to make money off of the sales on other platforms as well. It's like, we gotta think beyond the very like limited view of simply console war kind of thinking, you know. And it's just, that's not how executives have to think. Now, do I think they could do more with this? Do I feel like they kind of leaving some people, some PlayStation gamers, like any PlayStation gamer that feels some kind of way about this? I completely understand.
Right. So
because you're spending more for a game that Sony created. I find it fascinating. It's like you're spending same exact game. You're spending full price where other people get to essentially rent the full experience, not a demo, full experience.
Yeah. No, and so if we get to their statement that they put out 2 days ago, because, you know, pretty much everybody knew this, but, you know, there was a lot of people out there that just wanted Sony to come out and address it, and they kind of let it go for 4 or 5 days. I mean, granted, it was the weekend. Xbox surely knows how to give bad news to other people on weekends so they can just sit on it. But as part of the goal for this year's game, MLB decided to bring the franchise to more players and baseball fans. A PlayStation representative said in the statement that this decision provides a unique opportunity to further establish the MLB show as a premier brand for baseball video games. And they also just talk about how this was not a situation that was determined by PlayStation. This was determined by the MLB. And to just put a bow on that conversation so we don't have to talk about it anymore, Sony dropped the ball on this one. Xbox was, or I should say Phil Spencer got, once he saw this game was already coming to Xbox and he saw that MLB was the one but publishing the game without anything to do with Sony, he went to MLB and was like, yo, how much will it be to get this into Game Pass? And guess what? MLB, being the entity that they are, they're not into the whole console war thing. They don't care about...
They just want to make money.
They don't care about any of that stuff. If Microsoft comes to them with $15 billion and say, or not, well, $15 million and say, hey, here's $20 million if we could put this into our ecosystem of Xbox Game Pass, they probably were like, yo, that's guaranteed money. And they were like, sure, let's do it. And Phil Spencer probably was walking to the bank, going up to Satya Nadella as he got the okay to make the purchase of putting this game in Game Pass. And he probably was laughing at Satya Nadella as it was happening. He probably was like, yo, I can't believe that we literally have a PlayStation game developed by a PlayStation studio going into an Xbox service. And guess what? Our fans are not only going to get the chance to play it inside their subscription service, like you just said, Slow-Mo, the biggest dig of all is the fact that if we are done playing the game, or whenever MLB says we have, the contract says it's inside the Game Pass, you can buy the game at a cheaper price than what the competitor sells it for, brand new on their system. And you can own this game by just being a Game Pass subscriber. That could not be written that story can't be told any better way, bro.
And I think if I can criticize Jim Ryan for anything, it is not putting some kind of stipulations for this. Game Pass has already been around. When this deal with MLB happened, where they said you gotta make the game multi-plat, Game Pass is already a thing. If I was Jim Ryan, I'd have been like, okay, but we got some stipulations here. Okay, first off, you can never put this game into Game Pass. Like getting that done ahead of time and putting that in writing with MLB would have protected them from this kind of eventuality before it ended up happening. And I think that's something that he should have did before the announcement that it was going multi-plat happened, just to kind of protect themselves from being in this situation where they are developing a game for their competitor and promoting what the competitor's new platform is, which is Game Pass. That's
pretty crazy. Shout out to Stanley Buffington. Listen, man, we're about to jump into Outriders, and I definitely think that everything should be buffed before you start nerfing things. So we're going to get into that in a second. But shout out to you with the $5 holler. Sony is not going to do anything until it affects the bottom line. Disagree with Forte about Sony dropping the ball, though. Listen, you can disagree with me all you want. The fact that Sony had full control of this scenario, full control, until they relinquished control of that part of the game to a publisher in MLB. They could have, like Slow-Mo just said, there should have been safety measures put into place saying, okay, this game can go onto the Xbox platform. Yes, you can publish this game, but our first party studio will not allow this game to go in any type of service on any competing platform. If they would have just said that and had that written into the actual letter of the bylaws for whatever this licensing agreement was, then this wouldn't have happened. The game would have still ended up on Xbox. We still would have had to pay for it, $70 for the game. PlayStation would still get all the revenue. It wouldn't be no situation where PlayStation gamers feel shafted because they're getting, not only are they not able to play the game at the price that people on Xbox can do, they're not also losing the fact that they're getting it at a higher price than Xbox gamers get. That would be a no, that wouldn't even be a thing. So that's when I say Sony dropped the ball, because they had all control of this whole situation until they allowed it not to be in their control anymore. And that's the thing that a lot of people got to kind of take away from it. We got Techno Melon with the $5 holla.
Tech Chameleon.
Oh, what I say? Techno. What I say? Oh yeah, Tech Chameleon. Yeah, dude. Listen, man. I was reading.
Did you even read his name? Oh, Tech Chameleon.
I know you. Wait, hold up. First of all, I don't know how you talking, because you still call. I mean, how many times did you call A-Rod, Rodimus, and A-Rodimus and all the other stuff? What did you do?
You clearly did not see this man's name.
I did.
Techno Melon.
Techno Melon. Yeah, I completely took the chameleon out of it, the cuh out of it. Okay, shout out to Tech Chameleon with the $5 holler. It's business. It's not about MLB. It's about the simple fact that they made the comparison MLB, Xbox 15, and $70 for PlayStation. Yeah, listen, man, $15 to $70, that's still a win-win. Most of the people probably in this party are on a $1 deal, so it doesn't matter. Like me, I'm on a $1 deal for the next 2.5 years. Slow-mo, you're on a $1 deal probably for the next 2.5 years. Shout out to everybody in the chat that's on the $1 deal for the next 2.5 years.
Well, I've been on the $1 deal for 2.5 years.
Yeah, I've been on the $1 deal for a long time.
I'm actually coming off of it in August, and so I'm probably going to definitely
wait till it expires.
I'm going to pay full price.
No. Wait for it to expire. Cancel your thing. Wait for it to expire. When does it expire?
August.
Let it expire. Go into your dashboard and cancel it so it doesn't auto renew. Cancel it, and then go out and buy 3 years worth of Game Pass, Xbox Live, and then re-up it again for the cheaper price. As long as there's let you do that re-up, don't let it auto renew, because then you're locked in. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, I'm just words from a friend to another friend. You can send me the extra $180 you were willing to pay for Xbox Game Pass if you want to.
Well, I wasn't gonna definitely 100% willing to pay, because like I definitely was going to stay on for Halo Infinite, and depending on how well Halo Infinite did would depend on how long I was staying in until something else popped in that I definitely had to play. But yeah, I could definitely do that.
All right, last super chat for this section. We got Dan Lazaro with the $5 holler. Why do PlayStation guys defend them no matter what? It's like a cult.
Bro, there's fanboys everywhere.
Yeah, there's cults everywhere. There's cults on the Xbox side. They're quiet cults on the on the Nintendo side. They're like little church mice.
There's a lot of them on the
There's
Nintendo
a lot. They're
side.
like church mice over there. You know, they congregate in little small places. That's you don't even know they're there.
They got no problem playing more for a 10-year-old game than it did when it first came out, and they ain't make no changes to it.
No changes. So, hey, I'm one of them, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Skyward Sword.
I'm one of them. Yeah, so I can't front it. I am a true believer of what Nintendo does until they don't do it. But yeah. So first of all, thanks to everybody that's here for the live stream. We got 47 people watching right now, 37 likes. Let's get those numbers evened out. I truly appreciate you all stopping by. But yeah, let's go into our next topic, which is what my man Randall Thor came in. And you know what? I'm about to actually read his super chat again. So shout out to Randall Thor again with that $5 super chat. He says, this Outrider class nerf is ridiculous. Fix your game before before tinkering with the classes. It's a PvE game, not a PvP game. Slow-mo, I'm gonna let you take the lead on this because I saw the patch notes after the fact, so I haven't got a chance to play the game with these balances in place. Have you played it, and what do you think about this situation?
Well, I don't know if the balances don't go into place until next week.
Okay.
From what I read, but what I agree with Rand. Fix your game before you start nerfing things. And then in regards to nerfing things, why are you nerfing things in a PvE only game? It's unnecessary. You don't need to. There's no PvP to balance. There's no need to do any of this really. And I don't like the language that they used in some of the patch notes. This push for diversity and making what they consider to be overpowered skills that created overpowered builds more in line with everything else. Well, there's a reason for that. Like, and I'm not complaining about the AI, but the game is not. The game can be challenging, and especially so once you complete the campaign and you go into the exhibitions. It's definitely challenging at that point. People are going to create builds that allow them to do the content the best. Now, unfortunately, due to their own technical issues, all of the features that they promoted the game to have, crossplay, the matchmaking, co-op, don't work well. And so the most stable experience right now for Outriders is to play it solo. People have created builds that allow them to complete your content solo. But now you are making it so that people who are trying to do that have a much harder time. Where I have a real big issue is you say these builds are completing that in the exhibitions. Let me be clear here. The exhibitions are 15 missions that are timed content. You need to complete it in a certain period of time to get rewards. If you complete it quickly, those rewards are better than if you complete it slower. And so if you get a gold medal or a gold reward, you're gonna get a lot more really good loot for completing the game within that specific period of time. They were seeing people soloing to the content with specific bullet enhanced builds that they didn't like. But again, as I said, it's difficult to play the game when there's issues with matchmaking. They have acknowledged, even in their patch notes, the issues that they are having with matchmaking, where people can't find other people, even randoms, to play with, where people can't matchmake with their friends on other platforms. And so it's hard to play the content unless you're only playing it with people that you know on the platform that you currently play it on. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to easily find other people to play the game with. This creates an issue where you're playing most of the content solo. And in regards to that time content, they did two things. They lowered the time limits. So before, let's say if it was 9 minutes, if you were still in that exhibition for longer than 9 minutes, then you would go into silver. They've lowered that to like 5. So you lowered it because certain people had builds that allowed them to easily get through it, but not everybody.
Right.
So you're over here modifying the meta based off of a minimum amount of people doing your content quickly. Not everybody, because the majority of the people haven't even made it to the
Made it to
exhibitions
that
yet.
point.
So what do you do? Like you're modifying it based off of a minority doing your content a specific way, and then you nerf their build. So it's unnet. You should, if you were going to do this realistically, you have to do one or the other. Either lower the time to completion and leave the build alone, or leave the time alone and nerf the build, or not do anything at all and not waste our times with this and fix the game. That the last one is what I would have preferred. But there's that there, and some of the other nerfs severely hinder the non-overpowered builds as well. Shout out to Smuz246, preach slow mo, too much meddling and outriders already. Thank you, sir. I will continue.
Thanks for the $5 holler, bro.
Um,
Preach, slow mo. Go ahead, preach, brother. You gotta have the offering sheet go around in a minute because you be doing so good. Well,
I say today. Like, let me stop. No, but it's just this is not how. And you and I both though. I play so many loot shooters.
right.
It's one of my favorite genres. I played them all: Warframe, Destiny, Division, Anthem. You know, the bad ones: Anthem, Avengers. I played them all. Godfall. I play them all. They all make the same silly mistakes that should never be done, and yet here we are seeing them do it again. And Outriders look like to be the one that was just like, oh man, they doing it right. They got a good foundation here. This game's fun. The loot's good. I like what they're doing. And then they do this. And it's like they nerfed the stat for vulnerable, which is a part of every class's skill tree. They nerfed that, which weakens the enemies that come at you. They nerfed that on your stats. They nerfed the cooldowns for some of the builds. They nerfed all the classes specifically targeted nerfs for each class except for Devastator. And why didn't they nerf Devastator? Because the people who are Devastators made it to in-game are already complaining that the Devastator does not scale as well as the other classes. If you're a Devastator and you finally make it into a match-made session, you're getting booted because you're a Devastator and you're not contributing. It's crazy. And this is like the fact that they decided to do nerfs at this time before you fixed the crossplay. Before I pass this over to Forte, I said this on Twitter. I said, if you're going to nerf overpowered builds, you better make damn sure that the matchmaking and crossplay has been fixed so that people can actually play with other people that can help them complete your content now that they can't do it by themselves anymore. And so now that I'm done ranting. Forte, what do you guys say about this, man?
About this crap that's going on? Listen, man. Being a person that's been playing a lot of looter shooters for a while now, I'm used to this type of stuff, but the conversation has always been because of the sake of balance. Like, you know, I never understood the sake of balance in a game like Borderlands or a game like Outriders or even a game like Diablo, you know, because technically you're playing against, it's a PvE game where player versus environment, and you're as you can see, your boy. See, now I'm gonna let you guys know something here. You see this right here? I put this gameplay up for a reason. You see your boy lower his word. Shout out to Lord Addict, who wants to struggle through every part of this freaking game when he plays it by himself. I said, Addict, you're playing at World Tier 9 by yourself. Lower the difficulty, because you probably ain't geared up for it because you've been playing with a lot of other people that's kind of been putting you through the game. Don't be afraid to lower the difficulty, man, just to get through the content. I'm still playing. I'm still under leveled by 1 level, but I just wanted people to see that because, you know, your boy ain't afraid to lower the level if he feels like he's getting his butt whipped by the characters in the game. But look, the fact of the matter is, like, you're absolutely right in what you were saying about a good 90% of the people playing this game are nowhere near ready for the stuff that they're about to go through when they do get to the expeditions at the end of the game, you know, because that's technically where the game truly starts at for a lot of people. And the fact that we're literally nerfing stuff in the game hasn't even been out a month yet. It ain't even been out 2 weeks. I think it's just hit 2 weeks. And
it's just hitting 1 week.
Is it 1 week? When did it come out? Friday last week?
It came out last week. Yeah.
I know. It came out early, or did it come out at the end of last week?
Well, it came out a day early for some people.
Right. Okay, that's what it was. Okay, so it came out on
big time content creators, but everyone else, for the rest of the free world, it came out April 1st. So
right.
It's been 1 week, officially 1 week.
Yeah. So
they're already nerfing.
They're already nerfing stuff in the game for people. Listen, I'm just telling you that ultimately it comes down to you need to be able to have diversity in the game. You need to be able to say, look, the builds that I'm putting myself to actually do, I'm trying to make my character more powerful. It's that carrot on the end of a stick to basically say, yo, listen, if I want to go out and get this super OP build, what do I need to do in order to do it? As you can see, I'm up here looking at my thing slow-mo. I'm like, okay, am I on level here? Am I over level? I gotta at least be one level over this character. I can't be on level with this character. This character's kicking my butt. So I'm like, okay, I'll just let him be one level higher than me. But I think the biggest thing comes down to is, what are we playing? What are you playing the game for? Or what do you expect your players to be actually taking from the game? Do you think that they don't want to have an experience that they feel like they're triumphant over? Trust me, I know what that feeling is. I know what it's like to go into a raid and flawless the raid and get all of beat it with a full fire team of 6 people. And it feels really good, but that game, that's not for everybody. And most people aren't even geared up to a point to be able to do any of that stuff. So now you're dictating the game based on the minority of people,
the fringes,
that are literally doing the stuff in the game that would make it seem like it's broken. I always tell people, don't use content creators, reviewers, influencers. Don't use people like that as the barometer for your game, because they're the ones that are going to no life your game to all hell, and they're just going to play it until it's nothing left. Like, there were people already doing challenges the day before the game came out. Like you said, some people had access a day before the game released. And some people don't even realize that, you know what, the world tiers, they don't matter, because all it does is just to help you get good gear throughout the base game. Once you beat the game, you're in challenges, and challenges is completely different. You don't even have the world. Am I wrong, Slow-Mo? Is the world tiers even a thing once you hit challenges?
I don't even remember.
Honestly. I don't even think you have a world. The world tiers go away.
My goal has been to get all 4 classes through the campaigns and into the exhibitions. So that's where I'm currently at. I got 2 through. I got 2 more to do. And so I've only done 1 exhibition per my trickster and my technomancer, which I've completed. And I didn't even pay attention to whether the world tiers were still active or not. Regardless, it's the important thing is that, like, let me say this. 2 things I want to say. And I said this on Twitter. First thing was, this move reminded me, and it gave a lot of people what they said, Division PTSD, of what the Division did that nearly killed that game when it was still in its infancy for Division 1. And what they did was they introduced these things called gear sets. And the gear sets they introduced they were next level, otherworldly stuff.
Right.
Oh, wanted to do this real quick. We got a couple super chats. Did you get
I did
Tech Chameleon again?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know Tech Chameleon did it again.
I got it. Tech Chameleon, shout out for the $5 super chat. I agree, the game is very glitchy and they need to stay focused on fixing the game and not the build or the weapons. Facts. Shout out to Gaming Addict, $2 super chat. Hello, amazing people, and slow mo. Z hit the like button. Hey, that's funny. Yeah, me and
Amazing
Act
people in
always
slow mo.
we always go back and forth. Whenever the ILP, the Iron Lords,
I
go
love
live on
them.
Sunday, I always do a super chat and I say, hello, evening gentlemen, afternoon gentlemen, and Addict.
And Addict.
It's a little fun back and forth we do. Shout out to Addict, man. How's it going, bro? What I was saying was when it came to Division, they introduced these gear sets. And before that, the game was extremely balanced. People were loving it. It was at the time the most successful launch of a new IP for Ubisoft in the history of the company. Things were great. They
Yeah.
introduced these gear sets. Okay, the gear sets are broken. The power ability they were giving people, it was wild. Then they had an issue where the incursion, which is like a mini raid that they had created, the incursion could be glitched through in like 10 minutes. It was supposed to be content that would take you 45 minutes to an hour to complete. It could be done in 10 minutes. People were getting all the gear sets, and it was just a disaster. They took this disaster and made it infinitely worse with update 1.3. Now, me just even saying update 1.3 for Division players is
Right.
like it's a nightmare. There's not millions.
The beginning of the end.
There's a dozen guys right now listening to this screaming because they just, you know, their nightmare has come back. And update 1.3 was so bad it killed a game that had a very, very strong, and at that time, the same amount of players that Destiny had concurrently active every day, and dropped it to almost like literally 90% of the player base dropped the game. Because the issue with that was they geared everything. They tuned the game to what the Fringe was doing. The Fringe that was wiping through all the content quickly, and then they also nerfed the gear that was overpowered. So here was the end result. The end result is you doing content. You have to have a full team to do the content to get the best weapons, and that full team is only using specific skills, specific builds, and specific team compositions, because there's literally zero other way to complete the content. And if you weren't in tune and going to the Division content creators and learning all the ins and outs and seeing how to be able to do that stuff, you're just casually picking up the game and playing it. You get an update one day and you realize, man, that guy with the hoodie taking 5 magazines to the face, and he shot me with a pistol, and
put you
I'm
down.
dead. And I'm like, this isn't what happened.
Where's the balance?
Where's the balance? People quit the game. I see that happening with this game. When you start balancing your game, not for fairness, not to actually be versatile, but based off of what content creators are doing with builds that they farmed. What you don't realize is that the people who are watching those videos aren't farming those builds. They may try to do the classes, but the specific legendary weapon that took that guy 8 hours to farm that day, the dad with 3 kids ain't doing that. So you don't have to worry about everybody blowing through your content because one dude did a video. That's not how this works. And to sum this all up, and I've been saying this for years now, and I hope that one day a developer for a looter shooter understands this. You can't, it is impossible for you to make your game and design your game in a way where people never quit. It's not possible. All the moves that they're making are centered around trying to slow down the process of people feeling, oh, I've done everything there is to do in this game. I'm going to move on now and play something else. And that, you can't stop people from doing that.
You can't.
You can't stop people from putting your game down. this is the only control you have. Developers, if it is any developers listening, this is the only control you have. You have control over how people leave your game. If they leave frustrated or if they leave satisfied, because they're going to leave your game, because eventually you're going to run out of content, and game development takes too long and it's too difficult for you to keep up with every player. So it's not possible for you to keep enough content to satisfy everybody indefinitely. So don't try. And they already know that. So what they try to do is they try to slow down you getting through that content, which in essence makes the experience suck.
Right.
And that is not how to go about it. What you should do is let people finish your content. Let them have their power fantasy. Let them enjoy the game. And then if they get tired of doing that, if they don't want to build more builds, if they don't want to do more different things in the game, then you go, all right, well, come on back when we have the expansion. Go play something else. And you know what they'll do? Because they left the game satisfied and content. When you come out with your expansion, oh man, Outriders was a lot of fun. They got a whole new expansion, another part of the story. They got more weapons coming. I'm definitely going getting back in there because they had a great time when they played and there was no ill will.
Mm-hmm.
But when you make these kind of changes, or someone spends their time, their very limited free time to build a character, to build a particular gear set, to build their character the way they wanted to build it, and then you nerf that, and then force them to have to build a new build to even get close to the same level of efficiency they had before. Now they're pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's discontent. Now they're upset. And when they leave your game, the lasting effect is that bad taste in their mouth. So when you come out with new content, they're not going to play your game. They're going to say, screw People Can Fly, because they nerfed my build. And I'm not going to go back to the game to build something else only for them to nerf it again.
Listen, man. All right, let me get these super chats. Tech Chameleon with the $5 holler. If this keeps happening, games going to Game Pass, even though Outriders is glitchy, Sony's in trouble. Showing love to Gaming Forte and the homie Slow-Mo Backslap. Smugs 246 with the $5 holler. No way they have the data to know how to solve a meta after 1 week.
Facts.
And less than 5% of the players that are far enough to even abuse the meta. Man, listen,
absolute facts.
I don't care about this. Is the thing. I don't care about them abusing a meta, especially when it's a PvE game.
What he means?
I know what he means. They don't.
Yeah.
He's basically saying they don't have enough data to basically say that the 5% of the people that are up there is going to be the norm for everybody else. Because let's be for real,
right.
The thing about a meta is it gives you the blueprint in order to get to where you need to get to at least try to be as powerful as the people that you're seeing playing the game. But ultimately, it takes so much hard work to get to that point. Most people aren't even going to get there. They're going to get to a point like, I'm melting everything on the screen. Do I really care if I get to, challenge level 15? I might just be content getting to 10. I might be content getting to 9. Everybody doesn't have the aspiration of saying, I want to go to the max. I want to, just like in Destiny, everybody doesn't want to do Grandmaster Nightfalls. They're there for people to do. I don't even want to do them. And I love Destiny, but I refuse to go through the grinder that they want you to go through to try to do those things, because I feel like it's super unfair because you got 15 negative modifiers and not one positive one. You telling me you couldn't throw me some type of bone and then you want to kick me to orbit if we all die? No, I'm good. That's 45 minutes that I'll keep. But when it comes to everything else, this game, I think it hurts even more because the game is, like he said, it's glitchy. And now you're telling me that the build that I probably saw this YouTuber or this content creator make that was really interesting, that I kind of want to go after, and then I start building my loadout to go that way. And then all of a sudden, boom, next week that's completely gone. Or boom, next week this is completely changed. Or boom, next week these weapons that I was actually grinding for, that I probably had a god roll of, at one point I deleted it because I decided to go in a different direction based on where the meta was going. That stuff is gone. Now, granted, some people are going to say, well, you decided to, you know, follow the meta. You decided to want to make these changes. But ultimately,
but
you
some
should want to.
people aren't doing that. Some people actually.
And that's the thing. Some people aren't doing
built
that.
something
and
that
they're
was
still
similar
being,
to the meta just based off of their own.
And they're still being
looking
affected
through things and,
off of it.
testing things out on their own.
Yeah, and they're still being affected by it. You know, this just because you're not going for the ultimate OP build doesn't mean that you aren't being affected by some of these changes.
Right.
You know,
and
that's the thing that people got to realize.
People are kind of funneled to these kind of builds is that they're the most effective. The bullet builds are the most effective. I don't really like them over the other builds I was trying.
So
to
you
do.
Go to the top tree on your builds, or you go?
Yeah. I'm top tree for every single character so far because it's the most effective.
It is the most effective,
especially when I gotta play solo. With the Technomancer, I tried to go all anomaly. I had this vision of playing the game and letting my cryo and my blight turret do all my damage for me like I'm playing the Division, while I also would have sniper rifles from a distance, picking enemies off. That was my goal. I got about level 19, world tier 8, and I'm getting bodied. And my turrets aren't doing enough damage or not aggroing, but doing enough crowd control to keep the enemies off of me because, long distance. So my damage, I'm getting heals through long distance kills and long distance damage more than close distance.
Right.
I'm not getting any of that stuff. And so what ends up happening is that I'm getting overran and I'm dying a whole lot. I had to say, I'm tired of dying. Let me try to figure out something different. And like my trickster, and I ended up gravitating towards a bullet, you going around with blight rounds and Technomancer, but it's called twisted rounds in with the trickster, but gravitating towards builds that are focused on keeping the cooldown low for your enhanced rounds, and just basically using your guns to do damage, still having your skills, because I still, with the trickster, I use the time bubble to kind of help myself, because the trickster is very high risk, high reward, which also really sucks for the changes that they made, because it wasn't easy running through that content. You see content creators doing that and running through everything. They're just very good at the game. You are a glass cannon when you do that kind of build. You do a lot of damage, but let you get caught up on a piece of environment when you dodge roll or mess up or run out of ammo. It's a wrap. You're dead very quickly because you don't have any survivability. That's a choice. If you're good, you're going to survive. If you're not, then you're going to die a lot. It is what it is. But I had to change my Technomancer's build to something similar to that, still focused around sniper rifles, but definitely focused on blight rounds. And I'm doing the same thing right now with the Pyromancer, because the actual anomaly builds don't do anomaly skill tree doesn't do enough damage to allow you to get through the content unless you just keep the world tier as low as possible. So it's that's on them. If you didn't like how people were doing the game, then you should have buffed those other skill trees, so that they do just as much damage. And then you still have your build diversity, you still have your versatility, but this really reveals what it was really about, and what it had nothing to do with what they're saying it had to do. Because if it really was about creating better build diversity, not having everyone do the same build, then you would have buffed those other builds to match the overpowered build and let people could still have their power fantasy.
Right.
But what it really was about was you didn't want people running straight through your content too fast, or the fear of that. And so you nerf those builds to slow that process down, which is evident also in the nerfs they did to the loot drops. The farming areas, people were farming specific missions because it was quicker to get to a boss and kill that boss and then get the potential of getting a legendary. They nerfed those drops. It's all about slowing down the process of you getting the weapons that you wanted to complete the builds that you're trying to build so that you play the game longer. They can't say that though. So that's why they pretty it all up with, oh, we're still rebalancing. And yeah, you know, we're just out here just doing our best to make sure that everyone gets to enjoy all of the weapons. You know, or some of your weapons are trash. Okay? I'm not going to use it. So don't ruin the good weapons and make them trash like the other weapons and then wonder why people leave your game. So yeah, it's just
listen, I think overall the biggest thing is I don't think they had enough time to make a decision on where the player base is going to go in a game that's not even a week old at this point. You know, a lot of people are still theorizing on what their builds and stuff are going to be. A lot of people out here are just trying to see what's viable in the game, and I think that's a good thing. So I agree with what Tech Comedian said. You know, you're basically just, you know, not Tech Comedian, I'm sorry, what Smuts just said. You know, you're basically you're basically making decisions on what 5% of the community actually is doing at this point right now. What about the other 95%, and what about that progression to get up into the top 5% of that? Because everybody's not going to make it there. So I think it's frustrating, but the thing is, the game is fun. And I think people wouldn't be as adamant and upset about some of the nerfs that's going on if they weren't having fun. And I don't think this is going to really deter people from playing the game. But if they keep going down this direction, that's where they're going to end up heading with this. And let's be for real. Outriders caught a huge break due to the fact that it was the only game of note that basically came out in the month of April. A lot of people are just trying to find stuff to play, and this game is benefiting from it. And it really just comes down, you know, as simple as that. So be careful with what you do with the power you have as a developer and as a and as people that should, you know, look on these forums and they're watching what these people are saying, because there's more people playing this game than people that are making videos on it. And sometimes I think they get caught up in that whole scene about what's going on with the game versus just make the game just fun and enjoyable for the people that are playing it. But Slow-Mo, you killed it on that one, man. I mean, I was definitely looking forward to what you had to say about those nerfs when I was at work today, because you put a little bit more time into the game than I have, and I played it a heck of a lot. So it's good to have your perception, your perspective on that. But
no problem.
Moving forward with our last two topics, Kojima Productions. We all know Kojima, you know, Mr. Sony, always out on the stage with Sony, always out there in the forefront talking about Sony games, being, you know, saying he won't make games on Xbox, you know, all that stuff that happened over the course of last generation. But it looks like that might be changing. Now, there's been rumors of Kojima Productions actually making a game exclusive for the Xbox platform, which is interesting to me, to say the least, due to some of the conversations that we heard during last generation from Kojima, or not even really from Kojima, because remember the whole interview where it was, people kept saying that he was misquoted and it was the transcripts were wrong and everything on what he actually said about the games and about, you know, the community and Xbox. So there's been a lot of people inside the Xbox community, or just in Xbox in general, have kind of just been kind of off put by what Kojima said about the Xbox community, and that's why he only makes games on Sony. But it looks like that could be changing in the near future. And Slow-Mo, what have you seen on this?
Well, I mean, I haven't seen much, and
It's
I don't
not
even
much on
think
it.
there's really not much on it. There's a lot of there is well, it started. I think the actual like somewhat keeping the rumor somewhat legitimate from someone who does have access and has been correct on things is from Jeff Grubb. So Jeff Grubb was the one that said, "Yeah, there is this talk going on." Not saying it's definitely going to happen, but there have been talks, and so I Jeff Grubb has been right more often than he hasn't been. So I would say, you know, there's probably some definitely something really there, you know, kind of like when there's smoke, there's fire kind of stuff.
Right.
Um I'm gonna say what I've always said when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to Kojima, freed of Konami is never go full Kojima. So what I mean by that is what I mean by that is a fully unleashed Kojima without any checks and balances is Death Stranding. A Kojima with a few checks and saying, "Hey, let's tone down some of the weirdness here, and let's take out the peeing on plants parts, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, that kind of Kojima is where you get the Metal Gear Solid stuff that people loved that he's worked on, and so I am definitely interested in seeing what he's got to come up with because I think he's been kind of insinuating for a little while now that he wants to do some kind of psychological horror game.
Yes.
And I think that is probably what his next project is going to be, whether it's a Xbox exclusive or not. That is the lane that he's going to be moving into. Which I mean, they don't really have an exclusive like that. They although the evil Tango Gameworks kind of is in that lane a little bit with the Evil Within, but their next game isn't quite that. That looks like way more action oriented than what Kojima is trying to go for. So I I'm all for seeing it. It's not going to be the kind of game that I play anyway, but I'm definitely interested in seeing how it turns out and how off the wall it's going to be, and also interested in seeing all the people kind of going back on their narratives that they said on both sides of the argument. The people that acted like Kojima was a demigod, and the people who hated everything he did and hated Death Stranding. You know, all of a sudden playing Death Stranding and pretending like they care about delivering packages in a rocky country that looks like Kansas. Well, no, I'm sorry, that it's called Kansas, but it ain't Kansas. That kind of nonsense. So we'll see what happens. So
Neo S says the nerfs went live today. He said if you check your trickster skill tree, it shows the 15% lost to 2 nodes already.
oh my god.
So he said it looks like some of the character stuff went live today, but all of the like I guess the gear and armor nerfs probably won't go live until next week.
Okay, all right. So
Like
if that's the case, then that will explain why Rodman says that another content creator said that he didn't see much of a difference. Well, if not everything that they're doing is live yet, with like the weapon balancing and stuff like that, then okay, that makes sense then. But yeah, I haven't touched my trickster today. I guess we'll see.
yeah,
My Technomancer wasn't my actually my build for my trickster is a complete eater. It's there. It's mostly there. I was definitely running through content, not all 15 exhibitions. I only did like 2 exhibitions on that one so far, and 1 on the Technomancer. My Technomancer is still a work in progress, but
yeah.
um,
Oh, something I do
yeah,
want to ask
we'll
the
definitely see.
well, yeah, something I do want to ask the chat. Cause I asked Slomo this shit. He's doing all 4 characters. I'm still undecided on that situation. When it comes to Outriders, put a 1 through a 4 in chat if you plan on doing 1, 2, 3, or 4 characters, and if you're doing only 1 character, which character is the class that you're going to go with. I just want to get an idea of what everybody's breakdown of what their favorite classes are, if they're thinking about doing all 4 of them. But outside of that, with the whole Kojima thing, I can't say it, like I said on Brap yesterday, I really can't say it no better than what you said, because it's kind of, part of me feels like the balance between him and Xbox, knowing that Xbox is really hands off, especially with their developers. If Kojima was to make a game for Xbox, we would get literally the unfiltered version because Xbox is going to literally let him make the game that he wants to make.
Right.
And not saying that would be a terrible thing, but based on just how
I'm saying,
okay, well, Slow-Mo's saying it's gonna be terrible. So he should not be. They literally need to put the reins on him. Listen, we don't want babies coming out of people's heads and stuff. We don't want nothing like that. We don't need that stuff on our platform. But I think
I would love to see the Sony executive's face when he showed them a baby coming out someone's mouth and giving them a thumbs up. Like
pretty much.
What's happening here? I thought you were giving us a Metal Gear clone, but this is okay.
Right. So I mean, I think that's the biggest thing for me. It just comes back to, he's very talented. Vision may be crazy. It may be completely off left field. It might bounce off the wall and hit on top of the wall for a home run, depending on the source material. Because I never had a problem with his the way that he thinks about and wants to go about developing the game. It's just that all the extra stuff that he puts in the game that just makes you feel like, is this all truly necessary? I mean, are you doing this just because, granted, you're doing this because you can do it, but ultimately it just comes down to, Kojima is one of those people that when he decides to put his mind to something that he wants, he continues to keep going in that direction until he finally gets somebody that wants to, A, let him make the game that he wants to make, hence why he made his own production studio and got away from Konami, or B, get somebody to make the game for him that he doesn't have any risk involved in it, and that's kind of what Sony did with Death Stranding. So I really don't know how I truly feel about it, but I do think that this will be a good move for Xbox just to get him into the ecosystem for the most part, just because, let's see, Sony is kind of, I'm not going to say they abandoned, the homeland in Japan and stuff. And I know this would be a move basically just kind of center around a lot of people actually being, thinking that Xbox is more appealing to people in the native land of Japan. But I also think Kojima hasn't really been completely just down for making the Japan only type games or stuff like that for quite some time. I think, Metal Gear was never like that. It was more, even knowing a lot of people did play that from different walks of life, it still was a game that kind of felt like it was more built for an American audience or a European audience or something like that, where Death Stranding was like weird enough where I was like, I don't know why anybody played that game. People did, people enjoyed it. As much as I kept saying I'm not playing this game, I'm definitely not going to play it because I just don't believe that I should watch somebody carry packages. I can't even get my FedEx driver sometimes to pick up my packages at my store in a timely manner. So now you want me to go deliver the packages. I don't get that part of it. But overall, I think it's a good move just because they need something to show that Xbox is more than just the games that we've been getting throughout the generations of old. And I think that's going to happen with games like Bethesda, with those publishers, that publisher bringing out a bunch more games. Xbox is doing a lot of moves around Game Pass when it comes to, Outriders. We got, shout out to them for getting games like Octopath Traveler. I played that game on Nintendo Switch and that game's not even available on PlayStation, which blows my mind. So they've been doing a lot of things that are very beneficial to what the Xbox gamers who actually want to play on their systems, and they should just keep doing that. And if they can get Kojima to make a game that's going to be tailor-made to what the Xbox community wants, and they get it in Game Pass, can you imagine what that would actually do? Do you imagine a Kojima game in Game Pass, day and date, not available on any other platform? What do you think would the message be in the community, Slow-Mo?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I saw something in chat that kind of threw me off. So, DMX.
Whoa, no, don't say that.
I was somewhat prepared for that, just
I was
because.
too, but come on, no way,
Yeah,
bro.
that sucks. Rest in peace, DMX. Great performer. Really enjoyed his music. Really enjoyed his passion, and definitely the kind of person that when he spoke and the things he said, you knew he was being real with everything that he did and everything that he felt about the music industry and life in general. So that really sucks. Rest in
Uh,
peace to that man.
yeah, rest.
Um,
Shout out, wait, Basic Radio Podcast with a $5 super chat. Thanks for it. Death Stranding was really good. Just finished Outriders, a fun ride. Enjoyed the last boss battle. Scratch that sci-fi itch. 8 out of 10. Yeah, that's really good. I'm sorry, right? That literally what Slow-Mo just saw kind of hit me really hard because I'm a huge fan of DMX.
I mean, look,
Wow.
we've been so off topic
Yeah.
half the show anyway. Look, favorite DMX album
Oh man. Whew.
for me is Dark and Hell is Hot.
That's what I was gonna say. Dark as Hell is hot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that entire album, you can just put it on and just like not a bad song in it.
Not a
Just let
bad
it go.
song on that one. Wow. Okay. I was kind of prepared for this. I just didn't expect it to happen today.
Yeah. When they said he had no brain activity,
he technically had no brain activity yesterday too.
Mm-hmm.
So it was only a matter of time until that kind of happened. It's just didn't expect it to happen while we were on the show.
Yep.
Or in general. I mean, listen, man, 2020 was rough. In a lot
Enrique says $2 super chat, guys. No one is reporting his passing. Enrique, go on Twitter. It's all over Twitter right now.
Yeah, I see. If you just Google it came up. A couple people are promoting it. I mean, of course, we're gonna wait until I guess we'll wait till the mainstream media. But I mean, with that being out there, everybody that's been paying attention to the situation is kind of aware of it, and even if it hasn't happened yet, it hasn't been looking good for quite some time over the last 2 to 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
All we can do is hope if he has it to pull through, but it's just looking bleaker and bleaker when it comes to the situation. And like I was saying, 2020 just took a lot of great, amazing people away from this world. And I try to tell people, of course they're gonna, who knows if we'll ever find out what the true root of the cause was and what caused it in the first place. But this year isn't too much better, especially for me personally. I lost my dad this year, and a lot of other people lost family members, and not even due all to COVID, just due to life and the way things are happening in life. And the one thing I will always tell people is you should always be the king of yourself before you're the king of anything else. You should treat yourself with the best of care that you could always treat yourself. You should always treat the people around you with the best of intentions. You should always thank the Lord for every day that you wake up on this earth, because in a matter of seconds everything can change, and you never know the people that you say you love every day, the people that bent over their whole lives to actually help you achieve what you achieved, or you help achieve what they achieved. You never know when you get a chance to actually tell them how much they mean to you and how much they impacted your life. So if this tells you anything, 50 years old, 50 years young, I mean, I'm only in May I'll be 8 years away from that number, so that's super close to me. So I just look at it like, man, we gotta do better. We gotta do better with making sure that we don't give people their flowers while they're here.
Right.
Make sure that we're being very attentive to the people that mean the most to us and contribute to our daily struggles and daily lives, because sometimes I think we don't do that enough. But if he has passed away, rest in peace.
Well,
DMX.
Cat Daddy Lurk, shout out to him. He's saying in the chat that the news is reporting it now, so
So it's official then.
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, officially, it sucks. Rest in peace, Dia. I mean, like I always tell people, you're not struggling anymore. You're in a better place because anything is better than being here. We just wish that you were here with us longer. But for everybody else, just give people their flowers while they're here, man. Just make sure you family members, cousins, aunties, favorite teachers, people you play football and basketball with on the team, if they mean something to you now, make sure they know how much they mean to you. And what do you think about all this, Slow-Mo? How are you feeling right now?
I think it I don't want to be. I like to celebrate the accomplishments that people have when they pass, and shout out and think about like the best things that I enjoyed from the impact they made in their lives. And I think DMX as an artist was awesome. The energy he brought, he was one of the better rappers from the 90s. Definitely someone that was all over my car when I was driving,
Yep.
like windows down, blasting his music. Cat Daddy also says Hell is Hot is his
Yeah.
favorite as well. Uh
He said
I
he
mean
made me
just
wanna be from New York when I was growing up. He made me want to go out and buy a 4-wheeler when I was growing up.
right, yeah.
Everybody wanted to go buy a 4-wheeler after the anthem, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's I think he's going to be missed by a lot of people. I think one of my favorite verses uh competitions that they've been doing recently was him and Snoop Dogg. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was awesome watching two of those guys just kick back, have fun, and enjoy the accomplishments that they had with all the awesome music that they've made over the years. And you could definitely see, even though he was older and definitely ailing with his health, that he still had that energy, man. Like he still had that dog in him. So shout out to him. Rest in peace, bro. But we can I guess we could get back to get back to the show.
We'll get back. We'll finish out. You got anything else you want to add on Kojima and the situation going on with them in Xbox?
No, just I guess we'll can
cross that bridge when we
until,
finally get there.
right. But this is it wouldn't surprise me at all. Even though Kojima Productions has said that putting the game on PC really allowed them to crush any of their goals when it came to earning revenue and stuff like that. So they're not hurting for the money, yet at the same time, if Microsoft wants to fund your next project and they're going to give you the creative freedom to make whatever you want, why would you turn them down? Like I think a lot of people get caught up in, well, the game's not going to be on all like developers really don't care about that. They care
really
about getting their game out there and people enjoying the content that they're trying to put out there. They don't really care where you get it. So it's not going to really matter to him, just as long as he doesn't have a publisher telling him what he can and cannot do with his vision.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And like I said, only time's gonna tell. Imagine seeing Slow-Mo.
I got imagine imagine seeing Slow-Mo blasting DMX fall by some big hair 80s music. That was definitely me.
That was Slow-Mo, man. That was all of us, man. That was all of us.
My music taste is very diverse, man.
That was back in those DMX Twister days and stuff like that. Yeah. Jesus, just dated ourselves hardcore. Rest in peace, DMX, man. You're gonna be missed. And I know a lot of people out here gonna miss you too, man. Going into the final topic, Xbox and Nintendo have a showcase and they're officially going to E3 2021.
Enrique just sent me a DM from Philip Lewis. senior front page editor from Huffington Post who said that someone had posted that he had passed and then deleted it. Now, and then it says updated 8 minutes ago. When your spirit leaves and your organs fail you, the body becomes just a shell. One becomes wrapped in the Lord's arms. That's what I call gone. I'm sorry to all. I don't know what's going on. I guess we're gonna have to wait for further confirmation yet. So it's either way. I think the side topic of discussing the cool stuff that DMX has done in his history, it was well worth it in any way. So it's all good. We can just wait for further confirmation.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. I mean, listen, I think every last one of us hope that the man pulls through. That's all we really truly want. But you know, social media is always going to jump the fray when it comes to like anything remotely close to something like this happening, because let's be for real, everybody just wants to make it seem, everybody wants to be the first person to say, you know, rest in peace, blah, 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 and all that other stuff. And most of these people out here, it's just mostly for the clicks and stuff like that. They just want to get articles out on the stuff. It's unfortunate, but that's kind of how this stuff kind of works. But ultimately, everybody here at DPS, me, Slow-Mo, I know every last one of you guys in the chat, we truly hope that this is a situation that was just misreported and he's actually still with us. But, you know, it still doesn't change the fact that make sure you guys are putting the people around you, you know, close to heart, because even if this is something that could be something different, who knows what's going to happen in the next 24 to 48 hours. But moving forward on that, like I said,
there's another rumor that we can talk about.
Oh, what's another rumor? Okay.
Before we get to the last topic.
Before we get to the, what's the other rumor? We're already off topic for half the show, 90% of it. Let's go.
This is the off topic.
The off topic show. Let's go.
There's another rumor that one of the Epic games. So, you know, it was reported sometime last year that Epic Games and Remedy entered into a publishing agreement where Epic would publish 3 of Remedy's games.
Yes.
Which is awesome because, you know, Remedy makes quality games, and 3 games, which pretty much means that Remedy is locked up for at least the next decade, and they're going to have funding for their projects. We're going to have Remedy games for another decade. So that's something to celebrate. But apparently there's a rumor that one of those games is going to be a console exclusive on PlayStation.
Okay.
And so although there is no word of which one of those games it is, it's heavily suggested that they are going to do a remake or remaster of Alan Wake, as well as potentially an Alan Wake 2. We're probably never going to get another Quantum Break. I don't know if anyone else is
I don't think we're ever going to get another Quantum Break.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else is disappointed in that.
The question is, if we do get a Quantum Break, it's not going to be made by Remedy.
Right.
Doesn't Xbox own Quantum Break as a name?
No, they gave it back.
Oh, they gave it back. We're definitely not going to get it then.
They gave it back when they allowed their publishing for Alan Wake to expire. And so everything went back to Remedy. So Remedy can make a Quantum Break if they wanted to. I don't think they do though, but we'll see. Regardless, I enjoyed that game. But it looks like I think they're going to do an Alan Wake 2. So just something to think about. Did you like Alan Wake?
I love the first. I actually loved American Nightmare more than the original Alan Wake for some weird reason. I don't know why. I did like it. I just like the eeriness of it. Like it had really the one thing about Remedy games, they have really good atmosphere. Like especially the Alan Wake games, they were able to tell a story even just through the environments that you were in. And I always thought that was a really
Sam Lake.
Exactly. I always thought that was one of their crowning achievements, because a lot of developers and publishers, a lot of developers can't do that as well. So I think in general, this is something that I am looking forward to. I don't think Xbox is gonna ever be the focal point when it comes to what they're actually doing as a developer, which is kind of a shame because they had many and multiple opportunities to tie up the relationship with them long term. But you know, you never know. Some things happen in development that they didn't like in order to like kind of fall back from what Xbox was doing and kind of.
Let's kind of get into that for a second.
Go ahead, yeah. Let's get
that
you want to get
TV show thing. Like
that TV show.
That was clearly a publishing directed thing.
Yes, it was.
And
it
didn't work out. It didn't. It was a weird.
It wasn't an Alan Wake. It wasn't something they wanted to do.
Yeah. And then the game doesn't work out, and it's like, I hate seeing stuff like that. Like
I try to
there's
not,
potential.
Yeah, I tried.
They don't give it another shot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I try not to kill Xbox for that because part of me, because you don't really truly know, but the whole direction of Xbox back then was that whole. Can you imagine like the whole TV situation, and then they had the game wove into it. Now, granted, I felt like it worked well, especially
they were all about TV back then.
They were super all about TV back then.
Yes, they were really pushing that, and then they had the lead actress for and mocap for Control is the same actress that plays the one of the roles in that in Quantum Break, and I actually thought her story was more fascinating than the main character's story, with her getting stuck out of time and everything that she went through. If you read all the journal and diary entries and stuff of hers that you find, as well as pay attention to the TV show aspect, that like it'll be like 25 minutes an episode or something like that. It was a lot. But if you pay attention to all that stuff, like she had a really, really fascinating story. It's just unfortunate that like things didn't work out, and I mean we don't know what happened behind the scenes.
Right, we don't know.
You know what Remedy is capable of doing. You know about the quality they have with Alan Wake. How about you just let them give them another shot at a Quantum Break 2, and now that you have a bigger focus on creative freedom, do so with actually giving them that instead of try and direct them into doing something that kind of fits a narrative that you guys had going at the launch of the gen. But I guess it's too late for that, so it is what it is.
Yeah. So man, you just made me think about how Xbox has had so many great games throughout the generations that they either had an opportunity to lock up, like Mass Effect before BioWare went to EA. You know, games like Rise that were under Crytek, and games that they just have kind of abandoned, over time and stuff. And who knows if they're ever going to revisit them. I mean, I can pretty much, with probably not 100% certainty, but very good idea that they probably will never make another Rise. They'll probably never make another Quantum Break.
Rise still look good today.
Right, no, that's what I'm trying to tell people. Rise looks like a brand new game today, because it was like the showpiece. It was the showpiece game for Xbox when it launched. Showpiece. It was literally showpiece. But it is what it is when it comes to that. But moving on to the.
But it's funny because it's not like it's something that ends up happening in all games, in all publishers. Because I also really wanted and now I know that's probably never going to happen, but a sequel to the Order 1886. I really wanted that.
Do you think we'll actually get one?
Another game that looks great even today. No, it's never going to happen because Ready at Dawn is now owned by Facebook.
Oh, that's owned by Facebook. That's right. But doesn't technically
after the Order 1886 didn't like do well.
But doesn't the Order 18 they own that IP though, don't they?
I think Sony owns it.
Yes, I'm saying Sony owns it. So there's
Yeah.
at least there's a chance.
But I don't want to. I don't want another
You
developer
don't
to
want
make
another
it.
developer to make
Because
it.
this
Yeah.
is. I hate seeing someone else's vision get co-opted by a different developer that doesn't know, like, have all the information that didn't make it into the game, that could eventually end up coming into a sequel that ties into everything that may have been involved with the story and other features. It's like there's a lot of missing context there when you just have another
Mr.
dev.
Bot said that game is trash.
You know what? His name is Mr. Xbox.
Yeah.
So, like, well, why should I be shocked? But shout out to him. Look, people are free to not like the game. I enjoyed it with all his flaws. I still enjoyed the campaign. I wish it was a little bit longer, but it's an amazing looking game even today. And I thought the world was very well done, and I wanted to see more from it.
Yeah, Order
Unfortunately,
AD86 was a very graphically looking game.
Yeah, it was just a very generic cover shooter. Like the gameplay wasn't that great. It was too short, and I didn't like the QTE events in the boss fights. I was just like, why did you just introduce QTE now?
Right.
All places, but good game. It was a good game to me. A Metacritic score aside, and I don't think anybody with a name like Mr. Xbox should be complaining about games being trash when that game's Metacritic score is very reminiscent of a lot of Metacritic scores for a lot of Xbox first party games. So look, let's just not throw stones when we live in glass houses, sir. Sir.
Facts.
But no,
Yup, like I said, trash.
It's unfortunate because after that, Ready at Dawn didn't seem to really get any more. I don't know what happened with them and Sony, but they went on to just do VR games. That's just some pretty. I've never played them because I've never been into VR, but there is I forgot the name of the series, the Echo series or something like that, where they've been doing these VR games for Oculus. And that's pretty much is the reason why Facebook went ahead and locked them up. So they're probably going to be doing nothing but VR games going forward, but not like your kind of almost like demo level VR games, but stuff that's a little bit more substantial, a little bit more close to AAA quality, but in VR. So I mean, shout out to them for that, but it pretty much means it's probably never going to be a sequel to The Order.
Yeah,
but
probably not. But we can always hope. You never know. You can always hope. Finally, because Slow-Mo ran out of all the extra topics that we did talk about in the pre-show. Since we were so off topic. You got another one?
I don't. I don't.
You sure you got another one?
I got no more off
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I'm good.
You good?
I'm
you
good.
Sure?
I'm positive.
We'll give you one more chance.
I can't think of anything else.
Can't think of anything else?
Nope. Let's do this last stuff
until tomorrow or tonight. You're gonna be like
11:30. It's
11:30, yo, bro. Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right, Xbox and Nintendo showcased at E3 2021. So we all know E3 is going to be a digital event this year. And it looks like Xbox and Nintendo are going to actually showcase some stuff there. What do you think about this, Slow-Mo? I mean, I'm gonna tell you what I think about, but I'm really interested to know what you think about them showing it. First of all, what do you think we're actually going to get at an E3 digital event?
Whatever we were going to get if E3 wasn't going to be around. It's basically what we were going to get from these two publishers if E3 didn't exist.
Right.
Except they're just going to do it around quote unquote E3 time because it's the ESA. And many of the people involved with these publishers are on the board for the ESA. The ESA, if you don't know, is the nonprofit organization that runs E3, as well as does a lot of lobbying for the video game industry when it comes to the United States government and trying to, it was created to kind of educate old congressmen who don't know anything about video games and to about what video games are really about, and to not, use it as a scapegoat to get votes during election time, and saying things like video games is the cause of school shootings and stupid stuff like that. But it has kind of morphed into basically being actually more of a defender for loot boxes and microtransactions, which is like not what we really want. And then also poorly running E3, and as well as exposing game media's personal information through websites. So yeah, that's the ESA now. Anyway, this is it's an all digital event. I know there was some talk that they were going to charge people, but I ain't ever see anything official saying that they were going to charge people to see it. That would be silly. But I think it's not going to be very much different than what we were going to get anyway. If you remember last year, even though we didn't get things right around exactly at the same week like we did before, we did get similar stuff close to it. So I think the one benefit this may be is that we may get a little bit more of that feeling that we used to have with E3, where all the conferences were around the same time. And so you got all the information and all the big reveals and everything all at once instead of spread out the way they did last year. I also kind of feel like what happened last year was more along the lines of these developers, these companies still reeling and trying to get adjusted to life in a pandemic. And so that's the reason why stuff was so spread out the way it was and not more organized and more concise. The Summer of Games, the Jeff Keighley's event, that thing, I couldn't stand it because it was just like, it's way too spread out, and none of the information that he was providing on those days when he would drop something was worth the hype that of having it be the only thing that you're going to talk about that day. And having that feeling of conferences, all these conferences coming back for 1 week and getting all this information in a few days, I'm looking forward to that. All that said, E3 is still on its deathbed. I've said this years ago, if you remember, Forte, back on BRAP, like back in I think it was 2017, 2018, when we were talking about this. I said that the E3 was an archaic idea, that you would wait until E3 to show all this stuff. It's putting pressure on your developers to get something that isn't really fully going to end up being in a game, but some kind of trailer or vertical slice that doesn't get fully represent what your game is going to be about. Wasting resources to get that ready for E3 instead of actually taking your time and allowing your developers to have it ready when it's ready. I've always said that, I like the way Nintendo does things, where Nintendo will just do a direct when they got something to show you. When they got something to show you is when when you get the content, instead of, oh look man, we got hurry up so we can get this trailer or this teaser trailer or whatever ready for E3. No, show me the game when it's ready. If that's November, if that's August, if that's February, so be it. So I like the approach where, even though we're seeing it now with Microsoft doing Idea Xbox randomly in a March, I like that more than let's just hold everything until June. And then everyone's just waiting until June. And then you get 2 months before the event, you start getting leaks. And then the fake leaks. I'm so sick of that. I just want you, just show me. You, for example, my Xbox got 23 studios. You got enough studios that to not have, and one, to have them all have something available for E3, it's going to take almost all day. So instead of doing that, kind of spread things out, and it gives us something to look forward to all throughout the year versus just strictly at one point. And I think that now that people have gotten used to life in the pandemic and things getting better, that they can be better organized with that in the future. But I don't know, man. What do you think, man?
Well, you're right about one thing. E3 has been on their deathbed for quite some time. It really just it started when Sony decided that it wasn't important enough for them to actually have a showcase there, and they pulled out 3 years ago. And Even if there would have been an E3 last year, Sony wasn't going to be there then. Nintendo pulled out an E3. It feels like 10 years ago, even though it's probably only been 5. You know, they still had a presence. That's the one thing I will say. They still had presence there. They still had booths there. They still had displays and demos there. PlayStation and Nintendo still had that. Even Xbox, Xbox didn't even have a presence on the E3 floor. They had over across the street at the Microsoft theater. That's where they held all their press conferences and stuff. They held it during E3, but it wasn't technically a part of E3, like inside the facilities. I know they did have a booth inside the convention center on the floor and everything. So this has kind of been the a long time coming. I think.
Are you shocked that EA and Sony are not taking part once again?
I'm not shocked about Sony. Honestly, I'm not shocked about EA either, because EA's presentation never took place on E3's floor.
Yeah,
theirs was always. Theirs was always. They called it EA Play.
Yeah, EA Play. Yeah.
It was always. It took place in Hollywood every year.
Yeah, but that's what they called it. They always do it on a Saturday. And it's
the weekend leading into E3.
It very it's the full day thing. It's all right. I never really cared too much for it, especially considering EA's events have always been pretty bad. Yeah, I'm not surprised, because I remember reading that report from, I think, Variety on the ESA, and they were talking about how before the last E3 that existed, Sony and EA were really not cool with the approach and that the ESA was going with the whole celebrity route and trying to get more celebrities in and making it a big spectacle. And they wanted to focus more on the actual video games. So surprisingly, EA had that kind of mindset. I was kind of shocked by that, but I'm not surprised that Sony also had that mindset too. And it's I think if the rest of the publishers that are involved with the ESA were being honest, they probably agree with EA and Sony about that at this point, and seeing how essentially you could just run your own event and not have to do everything with the ESA and still be able to reach your audience at the time that you're ready to do it. I think that's just a better approach. But my bad. Go ahead, man.
No, you're good. I think that's the biggest thing. And the only thing that I really kind of take from this that I'm kind of happy about is the fact that we don't have to. We're still going to probably get a lot of information spread out across the rest of the year like we did last year. But the one thing I did miss about E3 last year was the fact that a good 70 or 80% of the stuff that we found out in September and October and late August, stuff that we would have found out at E3. We would have found out during the week of E3. We would have found out about some of the blockbuster games. We would have found out
the price of the consoles.
We would have found out the prices of the consoles back at E3 if that was the case. So that's something that I am happy to actually see. As a gamer, I'm happy to see that. Now, as a content creator, last year was actually pretty cool because they were pretty much consistently coming out with stuff to talk about. So it made the build up to the systems coming out interesting for a content creator. You always had something to talk about. But for a gamer, for a person that don't care anything about content creation or anything like that, for somebody who just wants to know when the games are coming, what am I going to play, what exclusives is going to be on this platform versus what's going to be on that platform, and what's the thought process of the next generation going to be, I think most people are going to enjoy this level of content than what they got last year. So it might end up being a better year for those type of people. But I think in general, it's just inevitable when it comes to what's going to happen between the ESA and what's going to happen with E3, because what's going to stop these billion-dollar corporations to decide, like, why are we why are we putting ourselves on your timetable?
Right.
That's going to be ultimately the thing. I think at a certain point, like you said, a lot of these CEOs and VPs like Phil Spencer and them, they're on the board of the ESA. So it gives them, it's like kind of a reason for them to actually play along with it. But at a certain point, if Sony can literally just turn their back and say, we can do a stream the week of E3 and dominate and get 3 million views or 300,000 people watching our stream on the day that it comes out. You know, it used to be that E3 was the reason that people did that because they didn't have that type of reach. Now with the, you know, with streaming and social media being a huge component of it, these publishers and companies, they don't need E3. So as much as I like the structure and how E3 gets the information out there, in a timely manner, I should say, that's kind of the only benefit that you get out of E3 being a part of the showcase. But it does feel good to at least know that there will be some type of E3 celebration this year, because I do miss the kind of, you know, allure what it would be. But the difference is, who really knows what E3 is going to be this year? Is it going to be a slightly better version of what Jeff Keighley did with Summer Game Fest? Because even parts of that was like, what, interviews with developers, looking on the screen, talking for 45 minutes at a time. And we all know as gamers how much that drives us crazy. So I hope it doesn't devolve into something like that. But ultimately, it's a wait and see approach. I'm cautious. I'm cautiously what's the word, Slow-Mo? Optimistic, yeah. I'm constantly optimistic about the situation, and I'm gonna hope for the best, but who knows how it's actually gonna turn out. I just want Xbox to start talking about what these 23 studios are gonna be making. We know what some of them are making, but we don't know what's the timetable on this Bethesda stuff. We don't know what Sony has planned for the holiday this year. We know Ratchet, as of right now, Ratchet and Clank is the only game that is slated at the latest for this year, which is, what is it, July? So what's after that?
Yeah, but I mean,
they say Horizon Zero Dawn's coming out this year.
Huh?
They say Horizon Zero Dawn's coming out this year.
Yeah.
But who knows?
They also said that about God of War. Which
God of War is definitely not coming out this year.
No, that ain't coming out this year.
That was a we have a big stick and we're going to use it type announcement right there. When they said 2021, I was like, yeah, right. But that definitely wasn't going to happen. But Slow-Mo, you got anything else you want to add to the show today? Any late breaking news? Any Slow-Mo speaks? This is a Slow-Mo speaks segment. We're going. I already named it, so this is your
Slow-Mo
segment.
Speaks.
Slow-Mo speaks.
I mean, like, I wish this was something we had discussed ahead of time, so I would have something for the Slow-Mo speaks segment.
Slow-Mo speaks, because Slow-Mo knows how to put his thoughts out there way better than most people that I know, and I feel like we should celebrate Slow-Mo by having a segment of the show that is all about Slow-Mo, because Slow-Mo's amazing.
Well, thank you.
And plus, I like yeah.
I'll have something next week.
All right, nothing for Slow-Mo.
I think I've done enough off topic.
I'm gonna make a graphic for it and everything. I'm gonna make a transition that says Slow-Mo speaks and everything. Like, I just made Slow-Mo's head just bigger than it actually is.
Hey. I think I'm somewhat humble. I don't think anyone actually agrees with me, but no. Yeah. We can definitely.
We can get up out of here. But hey, as always, guys, truly appreciate you guys rocking out for 2 hours 49 minutes today. And we actually started on time today too, so it wasn't like we went over just to give you guys the full 2 hours.
Yeah, I have no idea what we were doing today. This is the off topic.
Yeah, I might name this the off topic podcast.
Right.
Yeah, but the cool thing about that though, Slow-Mo, even when because there was really no like, oh my God moments. I mean, that happened last week, and last week would have been all about MLB if we actually happened on the day of our show. So last week was where the bombshell had up. This week was just a bunch of whole hum stuff, but the fact that we could just have a conversation amongst each other and with you guys in the chat, that's all that truly matters to us. And shout out to everybody that came through. Shout out to Rand. Shout out to Readiness. Shout out to Delilah HD. I saw you in the chat too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Delilah was in here for a second too. Yeah,
up.
shout out to her. Shout out to Brap and Deke and Cat Daddy Lurk and Yes Bays and Ash and Luca for coming through earlier. Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, Neil S, Tech Chameleon, because I am gonna forever remember to say your name correctly. Double M and so everybody that showed up, man, you guys are truly amazing, and I truly appreciate all the love and support that you give us on our multiple different channels. Slow-mo, tell these amazing people where they can find you and what you got going on for the next week.
Well, first, let me apologize for not dropping any more content after Bug Snacks. It took a lot out of me. It drained my life. I almost didn't make it, so I apologize. I'm recovering. I'm in recovery, and I'm going to be back soon. But no, seriously, I've been really super busy, and I apologize for not having any videos out in a little while, like basically 5 days, which is a little while for me because I'm usually dropping a video at least every 2 or 3 days, mostly. But I'm gonna get back into that rhythm. With a couple of videos, one about Outriders, another one's going to be about Mass Effect, as well as some other stuff that I got cooking in the oven. So look out for that soon. And you can find us back next week on my channel at 9 p.m. Eastern as we discuss more stuff next week, and whether we can have a guest with us or not to be determined. We'll see. But hope to see you guys there soon. And great show, Forte. Great chat as well.
Yeah.
Very lively tonight. With a lot of discussion and debate. So I love it.
Yeah, I truly appreciate all you guys. And Rodimus says, I'm throwing them off with the DMX news. Bro, the show was already thrown off well before that. That just added to the fire.
45 minutes talking about
Mass Effect. Listen,
So,
man,
yeah.
no, if you can't talk about the things you love, why talk at all?
Slow-mo was a video on PC Builder Simulator. Look,
Uh-oh.
don't. I don't know if you really want that.
Because Slow-mo would do that. That's something
I would
Slow-mo would
definitely
do.
do that. That's actually, you guys have been like saying, "Hey, play Lawnmower Simulator," knowing that I don't want to play no. I don't even want to cut my own lawn. I want to play Lawnmower Simulator, right? PC, I will play PC Building Simulator, and it'll be like relaxing to me. So yeah, I could definitely do a stream of that, although I don't know how entertaining that would be.
Well, it will be entertaining because you will probably be. We will have to make you do like a funny voice as you're like putting the PC together, like talking your Yoda voice as you do it.
Like Yoda.
Yeah, talk like Yoda. Do not put that there. But
turbo pace we need for this CPU. I don't know. It'd be weird. I do think we need to do some kind of like.
We do need to do a co-op stream. We got to find something, something that we can. Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of games out there.
Maybe I'll pull up a poll one day with like with a bunch of co-op games that people normally play, like say like The Dark Pictures, Man of Medan, or Little Hope. Or what's the one that just came out from the guy that did Brothers? Two of Us. Yeah, Two of Us, or just whatever. Just put up a poll, see what people want to see, and then we can do a co-stream.
Yeah, do something, because that's how y'all gonna get me to play other games.
It Shakes too. Thank you, Ramos. What's up, FC? How's it going, man? FC Violence in the house.
FC Violence in the house. What's good, fam?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We definitely do a little bit more live content than just the
weekly live stream.
The content that takes 4 or 5 hours to
Jesus, tell me about it.
Edit, render, and do the audio.
And hope your PC doesn't blow up in the process. But right. But shout out to you guys as again as always. And if you haven't, please go to Twitter and follow the DPS podcast Twitter account. It's DPS underscore podcast underscore. And that's where we're going to be posting anything to do with the podcast when it comes to uploads for any of the podcast sites or streaming sites that we're on. Plus, you'll get information on posts that we do as a live stream of when the next show is going to go live and when. And when we do those companion streams, when they're going to be and what games and stuff like that's going to be on them. So all that information is going to be there. Of course, me and Slomo will also be tweeting them out, but show the account some love. We just made it yesterday, and definitely want to get as many people in there as possible. But outside of that, guys, it's Gaming Forte. You already know where. You're already on the channel. And make sure you guys hit the like button on your way out. Share this video on social media so we can get more reach and more people up in here. And I truly appreciate all you guys, and we will see you guys next week on Slow Mo Backslash channel for episode 30 of the DPS podcast. Have a good weekend, and like I said, be nice to everybody and have a good weekend. Peace.
The Order 1886 is a good game.
I haven't ended yet, so they definitely heard that.
Good.
Good.
Hear it and understand it, okay?
Later, guys.
Peace.